Chapter 1547. Even though Zhuo Langyue had the aura, she was so fair that no one would associate her with Bao Zheng or Bao Qingtian. Did you tell Su Yun about Marty Franz Island's prison? Zhuo Langyue's interrogation made Lin Yonghe somewhat breathless. This kind of oppressive feeling made people feel an indescribable sense of coercion. Lin Yonghe didn't know what would happen if he lied, but he was very clear about the consequences if he told the truth. If Zhuo Langyue saw through his motive, what would she do to him? Lin Yonghe didn't dare to think about it because he still couldn't be sure if Zhuo Langyue was really on Su Yun's side. The intense struggle in his mind made Lin Yonghe not know how to deal with the current situation. His mind was spinning rapidly, thinking of all possibilities. Yes, that's right. Zhuo Langyue should be very clear that the woman Su Chen loved the most in his life was definitely not her. She was just a tool that he used to lure out his enemy. The only true love of Su Chen's life was Yun Luoyan. No one could replace Yun Luoyan's position in Su Chen's heart. Even Zhuo Langyue, who was recognized as the #1 beauty in the underground world, couldn't compare to 1/10 or even 1/100th of Yun Luoyan in Su Chen's eyes. Su Yun's name was taken from his parents' surnames. This was obviously the reason why Su Chen and Yun Luoyan wanted to show their true love to the world. Su Yun, what a good Su Yun. Lin Yonghe had an idea in his mind. He thought of how to divert Zhuo Langyue's attention so that he could have a chance to escape. He asked me about his parents. Lin Yonghe said faintly. He asked me about Su Chen and Yun Luoyan. Empress, you know that I'm not familiar with them. I only guessed that his name is Su Yun. His name is the combination of Su Chen and Yun Luoyan's surnames. I could see that this child was persistent in missing his parents, so I told him that this was the embodiment of his parents' love for each other and also the embodiment of their love for him. After so many years, when Zhuo Langyue heard Yun Luoyan's name again, the softest part of her heart would still be struck. 20 years ago, all her jealousy was on Yun Luoyan. Even though she had left this world, she was still extremely jealous of this woman who had all of Su Chen's love. She never understood which part of her was inferior to Yun Luoyan. In terms of appearance, figure, strength, status, Zhuo Langyue believed that she was the one who was truly worthy of Su Chen. Yun Luoyan could only be a passerby in his life. However, everything was different from what Zhuo Langyue had imagined. Even though Su Chen got together with her later, it was because of that woman. Yun Luoyan's was the true love of hers' love of life's love. Because of this, Zhuo Langyue's jealousy turned from love to hatred. However, she had nowhere to vent her hatred. When she realized that Yun Luoyan was the true love of Su Chen's life, Su Chen had also left at that time. It was also at that time that Su Chen decided to enter Marty Franz Island's prison. At that time, Zhuo Langyue also realized that she was pregnant. Bai Xiaoye was born under such circumstances. At that time, Zhuo Langyue had lost her rationality. There were even a few times when she wanted to kill the child with her own hands. Because she hated Su Chen, she also hated the child that Su Chen had left behind. However, no matter how much she hated and how angry she was, she still couldn't do anything to the child. It wasn't because the child was innocent, but because she was a mother. A mother would never be able to do anything irrational to her own flesh and blood. However, she hated it, truly hated it. That was why the child didn't have the surname Su and didn't follow her surname. She named the child Bai Xiaoye. Bai represented emptiness. She felt that she would always be an empty space in that man's heart. She didn't occupy his heart at all. Xiaoye was the feeling she had after losing Su Chen. When she was pregnant, she felt like a lonely boat. Therefore, she named the child Bai Xiaoye. It represented her lonely and helpless state at that time. She didn't let Bai Xiaoye call her mother. She didn't even feed Bai Xiaoye a mouthful of milk. She ruthlessly raised Bai Xiaoye as an adopted orphan. Because of Bai Xiaoye's arrival, Zhuo Langyue's mentality changed. She began to pay attention to those pitiful orphans. After so many years, she had adopted many orphans as her disciples. She didn't teach them killing techniques. Instead, she taught them self-defense and how to survive. She also provided them with daily necessities. Of course, there were a few who were extremely intelligent. She still nurtured them into talents and they became experts who could stand on their own. For example, Xiao Qiao. Zhualangyue deliberately nurtured her. It wasn't only because this child was intelligent and had a unique bone structure that was suitable for martial cultivation. It was also because she got along well with Bai Xiaoye since they were young. When the two of them were together, she felt especially at ease. Even if Zhualangyue didn't admit that Bai Xiaoye was her child, as a mother, she would still consider the child. As time slowly passed, Zhualangyue began to regret her actions. When Bai Xiaoye grew up, she wanted so badly to tell her that she was her birth mother. However, when she wanted to admit it and let go of the past hatred, she didn't have the courage to do so. Zhualangyue was very clear that if she opened her mouth, it would be a huge blow to Bai Xiaoye. She couldn't imagine that kind of pain and torture. She was helpless. She really couldn't do anything. Therefore, the matter was delayed again and again until Su Yun appeared. Zhualangyue had long forgotten about the past hatred. She had truly let go of it. She could already accept everything and the truth that the love of Su Chen's life wasn't her. However, when she heard the name Yun Luyen, she would still feel her heart twitching. Seeing that Zhualangyue was stunned, Lin Yonghe knew that his plan had worked. At least for now, he had diverted Zhualangyue's attention. Now that she was in a daze, it must be because she remembered something that she didn't want to remember. Phew! Lin Yonghe heaved a sigh of relief. He had to divert the topic of Martin Island's prison for serious criminals. If he continued on this topic, it was tantamount to risking his life. Zhualangyue sank into silence. No one dared to interrupt her thoughts. Even Ling Feng and Onan could only stand aside and wait for the Empress to come back to her senses. They had all heard about Su Chen. They were also very clear about how awesome that influential figure was. How many people were willing to sacrifice their lives just to win a smile from the Empress? How many experts only dared to look at the Empress from afar and didn't dare to flirt with her? However, not only did Su Chen make the #1 beauty in the underground world fall in love with him, she even gave birth to a daughter for him. She yearned for him day and night every day. If it wasn't for Su Chen, Zhualangyue's strength might have continued to rise. Perhaps she wouldn't have stopped at the Sky Xian realm. For hundreds of years, no one in Huaxia's underworld was able to cross the Sky Xian realm. Zhualangyue was the person who was infinitely close to this point. However, it was precisely this kind of martial cultivation genius that had stopped because of love. Because of love, he had abandoned everything. Of course, Su Chen's legend wasn't because of Zhualangyue. This was because the people of the underworld only knew Zhualangyue because of Su Chen. At that time, there was no ranking system for the 3 sovereigns and 7 kings. Everyone in the underworld was in a mess. However, there was one person who could give orders in front of anyone under any circumstances. That person was Su Chen. He was recognized as the king of the underworld. No one knew his strength, and no one had seen him in action. Those who had seen him in action were all dead. No, Lin Yonghe was an exception. Therefore, no one knew better than him how terrifying Su Chen's strength was. This was because he was the only one who had seen Su Chen in action and survived. He had always thought that he was lucky. After listening to Zhualangyue's words today, he began to realize that perhaps the reason why he was able to survive wasn't because he was lucky, but because Su Chen gave him a chance to start anew. Chapter 1548. During this period of time when Zhualangyue was silent, Lin Yonghe didn't just relax. He knew that this could only alleviate the situation temporarily and couldn't solve the problem at all. If he wanted to solve the problem fundamentally and save his life, he still needed a lot more means. Lin Yonghe wasn't afraid of death. It was just that his revenge plan was about to succeed, so he had to wait for the outcome. Before the outcome, he couldn't die, he absolutely couldn't die. He had to persevere, he had to survive. After Su Yun was sent to that damned Franz Island prison, even if Zhualangyue killed him with 1,000 cuts, he would be willing to do it. For so many years, he lived for revenge. Now that he could see the outcome, how could he not continue waiting? Seeing that Zhualangyue's mood wasn't right, Ling Feng finally couldn't hold it in anymore. He whispered behind Zhualangyue, "Empress, you can only take this person's words with a pinch of salt. Don't forget that he was a liar 20 years ago. Everyone in the underground world knows that 2 out of 10 sentences from his mouth are true." Only then did Zhualangyue come back to her senses. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yonghe. Lin Yonghe also heard what Ling Feng said just now. This was going to disrupt his plan, so he definitely wasn't willing to accept it. "Ling Feng, I don't have any enmity with you. Why are you talking about me like this? I admit that when I was young, I deceived a lot of people, but that was for benefits and to save my life. Now that so many years have passed, I have already disappeared from the underground world for 20 years. Do you think I will still deceive you? So you also know that you like to deceive people for benefits and to save your life? Aren't you also doing it for benefits and to save your life now?" Ling Feng more or less looked down on Lin Yonghe. He didn't know why, but he just felt that this person was too spineless. Lin Yonghe clenched his fist and trembled. "This bastard! Empress, if you think that I still dare to hide anything from you regarding this matter, you can just kill me." Lin Yonghe raised his neck. "I am already here, and you still gave me a chance to explain. If I still don't know what's good for me and continue to deceive you, then I really deserve to die. However, before you kill me, I still hope that you can think carefully about why I would tell such a lie. I want to ask you the same question. Why do you have to lie like this?" Zhualangyue recovered from her absent-minded state and interrogated Lin Yonghe again. "Lin Yonghe, you deserve to be called a smelly rat. You know very well that mentioning that woman in front of me will definitely divert my attention, so you did this." "Humph. I said that I will give you a chance, but if you can't grasp it, then don't blame me." Empress, listen to my explanation." Lin Yonghe suddenly felt a strong murderous aura, and his whole body shivered. "What I said just now was true, it's all true. Believe me, he really did ask me about his parents." Zhualangyue slapped the table in front of her. "Then it's too easy to solve. I believe he will ask you about his father. Speak. Did you or did you not tell Marty about the Franks Island felon prison?" "No." Lin Yonghe really didn't know how he managed to summon up his courage. He didn't even think about it before lying. If he told the truth, he would be sentenced to death on the spot, but lying might save his life. Sometimes, people really didn't mean to lie, but for benefits. Once a person knew that lying would allow him to continuously gain benefits, he would use the lie as a means to gain benefits. Obviously, lying was a means to gain benefits in Lin Yonghe's list of skills. And this time, he didn't only do it for benefits, but also to save his life. A smelly rat will always be a smelly rat. Zhualangyue sneered. If you didn't tell Su Yun about the prison for felons on Marty Franz Island, how could Su Yun leave alive? Lin Yonghe, you are really vicious. Do you want the father and son to be locked up in that dark place forever? Only then will you be satisfied? Lin Yonghe, who was exposed, was trembling all over. He didn't know what to do. Zhualangyue already had her own thoughts. Everything she said to him was just nonsense. She wouldn't believe anything he said. She already had her own judgment. "You misunderstood me. I really don't have such thoughts." Lin Yonghe was still trying to explain. "Empress, you shouldn't be so subjective. If you already have a judgment about this matter in your heart, no matter what I say, you won't believe it. You can only trust your own judgment." Zhualangyue nodded. "If I don't believe in my own judgment, do I have to believe the lies of a smelly rat like you? Lin Yonghe, it's really too easy to expose you." At this moment, another girl was brought into the club. The person who brought her in was Zhao Yang. That's right, she was the Zhao Yang who was called Lai Yan. Like Ling Feng and Onan, Lai Yan Zhao Yang was also a war god. And that girl was a waiter in the tea house in Yongqing District's Golf District. This submissive girl had never seen such a big scene before. She was really nervous when she saw so many people. "Miss, I only want to ask you one thing. You need to tell me honestly." Zhualangyue tried to make herself look gentle. "I hope you can cooperate with me. I'm not a bad person. I'll take this money as compensation for hiring you here. After saying that, Zhuo Lengyue handed the 20,000 yuan that was already prepared on the table to the girl. The girl didn't dare to accept it. When she saw these people, she felt that the atmosphere was very oppressive. She shook her head repeatedly and didn't dare to take the money. Sis, I'll tell you what you want to know. Really, I don't tell a single lie. My mother taught me since I was young that I must be honest. I really will be honest. Take it. This is compensation for your loss of time. You deserve it, Zhuo Lengyue insisted. Seeing that the girl didn't dare to take the money, Zhao Yang stepped forward and stuffed it into the girl's pocket. Didn't I already say that I invited you here for an important matter? Take this money. You should take it. It's not like this is ill-gotten wealth. After the money was stuffed into the girl's pocket, the girl didn't dare to take it out again. She could only nod repeatedly, hoping that the information she knew was worth the money. At this time, Lin Yonghe had already recognized the girl. She was the waiter who came in to add hot water for them when he and Su Yun were talking about the Mardi Franz Island prison. In that instant, Lin Yonghe really wanted to kill her. He was afraid that the girl would say something. However, he also knew that as long as he made a move, it would be equivalent to admitting everything that he had done. The moment he revealed his murderous aura, many pairs of eyes fell on him. One had to know that these people were all very powerful. How could Lin Yonghe's murderous aura escape their eyes? Lin Yonghe had no choice but to retract his murderous aura as much as possible, making himself look much calmer. Miss, just say what you heard. Shut up. Zhuo Lengyue coldly glared at Lin Yonghe, then said to the girl in a gentle voice, Do you still remember this person? He was drinking tea with a young man in your shop. It was just a few hours ago. The girl glanced at Lin Yonghe and immediately remembered. She quickly nodded. She remembered it clearly, not because of Lin Yonghe's appearance, but because of the young man's charm. He was especially manly and had a special taste, which made girls unable to help but fall in love with him. I remember. That's good. Zhuo Lengyue smiled slightly. Then do you remember what he said to the young man? The girl raised her head and thought carefully, then said, I just went in to add hot water for the customer once. It was used to heat the tea set. I didn't hear anything clearly. Lin Yonghe breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Fortunately, he didn't speak loudly at that time, or it would be really troublesome now. Then tell me what you didn't hear clearly. Zhuo Lengyue still looked at the girl in front of her very patiently. The girl thought about it again. I heard something about prison, something about never seeing the light of day. I'm really sorry, big sister. I really didn't hear too much. I don't want this money. As she spoke, the girl took out 20,000 yuan in cash from her pocket again. She didn't dare to take it. She really didn't hear much meaningful things. She only heard a few words intermittently. How could she dare to ask for 20,000 yuan just because of these few words? It was too troublesome. Chapter 1549. Indeed, the girl didn't hear much, but it was enough. Zhuo Lengyue's lips curled into a smile, while Lin Yonghe's face turned completely pale. These few key words were enough to sentence him to death. This girl was too infuriating. Why did she only hear such key words? Damn it! This girl definitely couldn't understand no matter how hard she tried. The few words she heard were enough to prove everything. You should take this money. Thank you. Zhuo Lengyue faintly said to Zhao Yang, send her back to where you picked her up. Send her safely to her destination and then come back. Yes. Zhao Yang nodded and signaled for the girl to leave with him. The girl still hadn't calmed down from her shock. She didn't expect it to end so quickly. 20,000 yuan was hers? Zhuo Lengyue didn't want to say anything more. She was very clear about Lin Yonghe's character and the seriousness of the current situation. Her expression was unsightly, but it wasn't because she was angry at Lin Yonghe. A large part of it was because she was worried. Zhuo Lengyue was worried that Su Yun would do something stupid after hearing the news about Mardi Franz Island's major criminal prison. Once he did something stupid, there was no way to make up for it. Zhuo Langyue was very clear that Su Yun's feelings for his father were incomprehensible. In the eyes of ordinary people, his father was always dignified with a mixture of love and respect. However, in Su Yun's eyes, his father wasn't filled with love and respect, but with hatred and pain. A large part of the reason for this hatred and pain was that he couldn't understand. Since his father didn't even raise him, why did he let him live in this world? Since he planted this seed, why did he abandon it? This was an extremely irresponsible act, so Su Yun was filled with hatred towards his father. This kind of hatred could only be understood by those who had been abandoned. And the pain was because of his mother. Su Yun knew very well that his mother had left this world in an extremely short period of time after giving birth to him. As for why, no one had told him, nor did he want to know. When he thought of this question, he felt especially pained because he had always wondered if everything would have been different if his father had been by their side at that time. Perhaps his mother wouldn't have left this world. Perhaps he wouldn't have had to endure this pain and hatred for so many years. Therefore, Su Yun's feelings for his father were definitely different from that of ordinary people. But after more than 20 years, this hatred and pain slowly turned into a kind of understanding. Because Su Yun had turned from a boy into a man, he began to learn how to face and bear responsibilities. He also began to face all kinds of choices. Many times, Su Yun realized that there were some things that he didn't want to give up. It wasn't that he didn't want to bear the responsibility, but there were some things that needed to be sacrificed. In order to obtain a greater meaning, in order to protect a greater benefit, it was inevitable to sacrifice one's own interests. Between righteousness and self-interest, people often had to make a quick choice, and this choice usually didn't give people too much time to consider. After experiencing this many times, Su Yun gradually understood that many of these choices didn't need to be made at all, because righteousness was always more meaningful than self-interest. Therefore, he began to give up self-interest logically. Even this kind of self-interest included his own life. As long as he could achieve righteousness and serve the country, there was nothing that Su Yun couldn't sacrifice. At this time, Su Yun realized that sometimes, responsibility couldn't be seen in a simple way. If a person didn't even care about his own life, people who didn't know him would definitely think that this person didn't even have the most basic sense of responsibility. However, if it was for the benefit of a country, for the benefit of more than 1 billion people, he wouldn't care about his own life. In that case, it wasn't as simple as having no sense of responsibility. This sense of responsibility was too great. When Su Yun was faced with such a choice, he began to understand his father. Because he didn't know whether his father had given up on him for some righteousness like him. If that was the case, he definitely wouldn't feel wronged. Su Yun understood what righteousness meant. When Zhuo Langyue saw Su Yun for the first time, she could see that Su Yun's respect, love, confusion and helplessness for his father were all intertwined in his immature mind. Since he could bear all this, it indicated that he had a greater bearing capacity than anyone else. On this point, even Zhuo Langyue admired Su Yun a lot. He was able to endure so many things that others didn't dare to believe it. Therefore, after some things, Zhuo Langyue carefully perceived Su Yun's yearning for his father. She clearly felt that Su Yun doubted whether his father was dead or alive. However, he couldn't be sure. Therefore, Zhuo Langyue started to worry that this kid would know about the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island one day. If there was such a day, would he go to that place? When Zhuo Langyue thought of this question, she would feel a chill all over her body. Because she was sure that Su Yun would definitely go there. Even if that place was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, it was impossible for him to remain indifferent after knowing that his father was there. Even if Su Yun knew that he would not be able to return, he would still give it a try. It was not that he was irresponsible, but that he was like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. Just like when she was young, she also tried to break into that hellish place of no return. When she started to act crazily, she realized that she was still far from being able to behave atrociously in such a place. Fortunately, she was brought out by a mysterious man by chance. This mysterious man was one of the guards of the serious criminals' prison in Franz Island. If it weren't for that man, Zhuo Langyue might have been thrown into the deep-sea prison now. From then on, Zhuo Langyue clearly knew that the serious criminals prison in Franz Island was an absolutely untouchable taboo. Saving someone in the deep-sea prison on the 5th floor? It wasn't just a fantasy, it was simply a dream. It was something that could never be done. Zhuo Langyue knew all this because she personally went to the serious criminals prison in Franz Island. However, Su Yun didn't go there, so he didn't know the horror of that place. Therefore, Zhuo Langyue dared to say that Su Yun would do something like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. However, the goddess of luck wouldn't favor a person over and over again. If Su Yun really went there, he would be trapped in there and would never be able to get out. It was basically a matter that was set in stone. With Su Yun's strength, the 3rd floor of the serious criminals prison in Franz Island was enough to lock him up. Why did he need to go to the 5th floor? Therefore, if he broke into the serious criminals prison in Franz Island, he might not be able to see his father even if he got in. The more Zhuo Langyue thought about it, the more she couldn't control her emotions. Damn Lin Yonghe. His scheme was too insidious and cunning. Zhuo Langyue really couldn't believe that such a person existed in this world. He could actually make such a flawless trap. Lin Yonghe used Su Yun to deal with her. This was definitely a scheme that he would never fail. Lin Yonghe, you're really vicious. Zhuo Langyue sneered as she looked at Lin Yonghe. All along, I've always thought that you were an unremarkable thing, just like your nickname, a smelly rat. But today, I discovered that the smaller and dirtier a thing is, the easier it is for them to do despicable things. Lin Yonghe had already felt the strong murderous intent. Under the pressure of this momentum, he began to be out of breath. This fear rose from the bottom of his heart. He couldn't control this fear. He really couldn't control it. You're a kind of smelly rat that can bring the plague. You're disgusting and annoying. Zhuo Langyue said, I really don't understand why Su Chen gave you a chance to live back then. He should have killed you completely, so that people like you can never hurt people again. Lin Yonghe was able to live back then because Su Chen showed mercy. Although Lin Yonghe had done a lot of despicable things, he had never killed anyone. Therefore, Su Chen only forced him to leave Huaxia. He didn't think that he deserved to die. Thinking about it now, Lin Yonghe probably shouldn't have stayed. What a great challenge it was for Su Yun to keep Lin Yonghe here. Su Chen probably never thought of this at that time. Now that Su Yun had confirmed the matter of the serious criminals prison in Franz Island, an idea that had always existed in his heart began to secretly grow. He was now ready to take action that he had never taken before. All this seemed to be peaceful, but there was a huge crisis hidden. Once Su Yun was really trapped in that place, with his current ability, it was really impossible for him to come out alive. It was also impossible for him to have a chance to see Su Chen. Chapter 1550. Zhuo Langyue had already given the order to attack. Ling Feng and Onan were already prepared to attack. As long as the Empress gave them the signal, they would attack Lin Yonghe without hesitation. Lin Yonghe's face was ashen. He couldn't understand why Zhuo Langyue would stand on Su Yun's side. Empress. Su Yun is the child of him and that woman. Why are you helping him? You still know that Su Yun is his son? Zhuo Langyue said coldly, you should know the reason why you don't dare to attack Su Yun personally. I don't need to care about Yun Luyen. I only need to know that Su Yun is his son. I, Zhuo Langyue, am willing to give up everything for him. Why are you doing this? Lin Yonghe couldn't understand. Even though Su Yun is his son, he is also the son of him and Yun Luyen. You are simply helping Yun Luyen take care of her son. Not only did she occupy Su Chen's heart, but she also wants you to help her take care of her son? Why? Why are you doing this? Onan didn't want Lin Yonghe to speak anymore. Lin Yonghe, you better shut up. The Empress doesn't need to explain anything to you. You don't have the right to question her. Look at your current situation clearly. You are about to die, so it's better for you not to know anything. Zhuo Langyue, however, raised her hand. No, I want him to die clearly. Lin Yonghe, People like you will never understand what love is. Love isn't selfish possession or domineering possession. It's a kind of tolerance, understanding, and willingness to do anything for others. I, Zhualangyue, am such a person. I dare to admit to anyone that I only love Su Chen in my life. Even if I'm not his only and can't even be considered a substitute, I am willing to do so. If Su Chen could hear Zhualangyue's words, he would have no regrets in this life. He had his beloved Yun Luyen and Zhualangyue, who was willing to give up everything for him. What else was there for him to be dissatisfied with in this life? For a man to have two beauties willing to give up everything for him, his life was worth it. After so many years, I've already let go of my hatred and jealousy towards Yun Luyen. I'm just envious of her. I'm envious that she met Su Chen before me. Zhualangyue said, like me, she loves Su Chen wholeheartedly. I can understand that feeling better than anyone else. Su Chen went to that place for her. I was indeed jealous and angry at that time, but now I understand. It's because Su Chen is such a loyal man that I love him so unscrupulously. Only a man like him is worthy of my sacrifice, worthy of my love for him. Only when he's like this would I be willing to give up everything for him. Zhualangyue was visibly agitated at the end of her speech. She had suppressed these words for far too long. That was why she was so agitated. So now you're taking care of his child with another woman for his sake? Lin Yonghe saw that Zhualangyue's emotions had already been angered by her. She might as well take a gamble and rub salt on Zhualangyue's wound even more unscrupulously. Who knows, she might even be able to make Zhualangyue angry. Zhualangyue sneered at Lin Yonghe and said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to anger me over and over again? Lin Yonghe, do you really think that you're like a cat that has 9 lives? You've been dragging out an ignoble existence for so many years. You've earned enough. Lingfeng Onan, take him away. You know how to deal with him. Empress, are you really going to kill him? Are you going to dirty your hands for such a person?" Dong Hai, who had been silent all this while, finally couldn't hold it in anymore. As one of the 5 war gods, he was the one who spoke the least and was also the quietest among them. "He's already in this state, yet you're still speaking up for him. What do you mean?" Onan frowned. He and Dong Hai had always been on bad terms. If it wasn't for the Empress's summons, both of them wouldn't have pissed in the same pot. Now that Xiaolang and Dong Hai actually wanted to speak up for Lin Yonghe, Onan naturally wouldn't agree. Dong Hai ignored Onan and continued to express his thoughts to Zhualangyue. There must be a reason why Su Chen didn't kill him back then. We don't know the reason, but you definitely know. I don't have any other intentions. I just hope that you can think it through. There are some things that you really need to consider carefully. Dong Hai was indeed thinking for Zhualangyue. Previously, Zhualangyue didn't know that Su Chen had given Lin Yonghe a way out. But now that she knew that Lin Yonghe was still alive, she quickly understood why Su Chen didn't kill him. It was probably because of that innocent and young life. Lin Yonghe had a son. Back then, Su Chen was arresting Lin Yonghe because of that harmful fake medicine case. After Su Chen obtained all the clues about Lin Yonghe, he naturally knew about his newborn son. At that time, Su Yun was also born. He knew how it felt to be a father. However, during the arrest of Lin Yonghe's lover, the mother of this child, had an accident. In order to cover Lin Yonghe's escape, she fell off a building. At that time, she left behind such a pitiful child. This child was brought back by Su Chen. Therefore, when he had the chance to kill Lin Yonghe at the southern border, he didn't do it. In the end, he softened his heart and gave Lin Yonghe a way out because of that child. In the bottom of his heart, Su Chen hoped that Lin Yonghe could realize all his mistakes and turn over a new leaf. When father and son met in the future, it could be considered as his apology for that innocent mother of his. This was the reason why Su Chen didn't kill Lin Yonghe. Zhualangyue knew about that innocent child, so she could understand Su Chen's thoughts at that time. Now that Dong Hai reminded Zhualangyue, Zhualangyue thought of this matter. However, Lin Yonghe didn't reflect on it for so many years. He was completely immersed in revenge. But from his point of view, losing his wife and child would really drive a person completely crazy. He was also the reason why Lin Yonghe was so crazy about revenge. Zhuo Lengyue thought that if it was her and someone took Xiao Yi away from her, she might also become crazy, right? Lin Yonghe, you shouldn't have done this. Zhuo Lengyue became calm. Back then, Su Chen intentionally let you live. I think the reason is because of your child. Child? Lin Yonghe smiled bitterly. I don't remember having any child. It was Su Chen who caused me to lose my child. Therefore, I want to find his son and return everything to him. Empress, I don't need your pity. I have also thought it through. Even if I die now and can't see the father and son reunite in that godforsaken place, it is enough for me to know in my heart. I have achieved my goal, so it's fine if I die. Zhuo Lengyue shook her head. What's the point of doing this? Why don't you put all your effort into finding your own child? I can tell you very clearly that your son was brought back by Su Chen. He said that he wanted someone to properly adopt him and nurture him so that he wouldn't become someone like you. Lin Yonghe suddenly felt as if he was struck by lightning. His son didn't die? He always thought that Su Chen couldn't catch him and would vent his anger on his son. After all, his wife was already dead at that time. His son was only 2 or 3 months old. He didn't need to do anything and could be strangled to death with 2 fingers. You said my son didn't die? Lin Yonghe couldn't believe his ears. Where is he now? Where is he now? Tell me. I beg you to tell me. Zhuo Lengyue nodded with certainty. I'm sure he didn't die. But I really don't know where he is. Lin Yonghe, if you put all your effort into finding him in the past 20 years, I'm afraid you would have found him long ago. You are wrong. Chapter 1551. Lin Yonghe was very clear that if what Zhuo Lengyue said was true, then he had really made a mistake that could never be made up for. That's right, 20 years, 20 years. He had been thinking about how to take revenge for the past 20 years. There was nothing but revenge left in his world. Sometimes, Lin Yonghe even wanted to ask himself whether what he had done for so many years was worth it. The 2 answers in his heart were fighting so clearly. On the one hand, it told him that as long as Su Chen could lose his son like he did and watch his son suffer for the rest of his life, it was worth it. On the other hand, the other answer was also asking him whether he was really satisfied with this. He had not fulfilled his responsibility as a father for more than 20 years. He just wanted to take revenge, take revenge, take revenge. Did he lose him or Su Chen by doing this? Su Chen had been deeply imprisoned in the Mardi Franz Island for controlling everything. He might never be able to get out of that damn place in his life. Why didn't he spend his mind on finding his son in the past 20 years? Why was he still fighting for a person who could no longer come to this world? For the sake of a single breath of air in his heart, he had lost more than 20 years of time. What had he done in the past 20 years? Lin Yonghe suddenly began to hate himself. He suddenly began to feel that his whole life was wrong. What could he get from taking revenge? But what about the price he had lost? The price he had lost might be that he would never be able to find his son again. What was the point of taking revenge like this? It was really meaningless. Lin Yonghe really wanted to ask herself what she had done. What was she doing now? Why did he do this? Why was the price of revenge so high? He didn't even know what his son looked like. He didn't even have time to give his son a name because of the big fake medicine case he had caused that year. But he shouldn't have been responsible for everything that year alone. If it weren't for the support of the governor of Chuan province, he wouldn't have had the chance to take on such a big case. But why was it that once something happened, everything fell on his shoulders? The benefits that he received were far less than what the other leaders received. Nominally, he was the one who had caused the big fake medicine case. In fact, after all the links, he had not even obtained 10% of the benefits. Most of the remaining benefits were handed over to the leaders. As long as there was supervision over his industry, every leader would get more money than him. But in the end, when he was investigated, everyone put the blame on him. If it weren't for the instigation of these leaders, he, Lin Yonghe, would not have taken this step and ended up with the name of a smelly rat. If it weren't for those people's instigation and coercion, he wouldn't have done such a heinous thing. He was a bastard, but he knew very well how many bastards were behind him. Others might not know, but he knew very well. Those bastards were actually more bastards than him because he had always been a bastard. As for those people, they did those bastards in the name of serving the people. That was the real bastard. In the past 20 years, the national examination in Huaxia. Every year, there would be old foxes who became more and more courageous as they fought, and every year, there would be fresh graduates who were born calves. There were always some people for those people to take the exam. Every year, everyone to them. Why? How many of these people were there to serve the people? Even if someone said so, who would believe it? Since ancient times, Huaxia had an idiom, which was to get promoted and get rich. What was to get promoted and get rich? When one's official position was promoted, one could get more material wealth at the same time. Even elementary school students now understood such a simple principle. Why? Was the purpose of becoming a civil servant to get promoted and get rich? No, this was a job that required one to perform public duties according to the law and think about the interests of the people. But how many of the civil servants in Huaxia did it with this idea in mind? How many people knew that the basic salary of the highest-ranking officials increased from 7,000 to more than 10,000 in just a year? More than 10,000? As long as the private sales staff in the second-tier cities worked hard, they could also get this amount, right? A farmer who planted cherries or grapes would earn more than this, right? Even a third-rate writer who wrote a few words on the internet could get this amount of salary. But how many high-ranking officials were there? Most of them were low-level clerks. The salary was really pitiful. But why were there still so many people fighting for such a pitiful salary? It was because these people didn't know what it meant to serve the people at all. In their minds, they only thought about getting promoted and getting rich. Lin Yonghe thought that if the people who were in charge of supervising him when he was in the medicinal herb business were really good civil servants who served the people, then he wouldn't have come to this step now. Huaxia's anti-corruption campaign was really a long road. In this society, how many such things existed? The officials were corrupted because of the businessmen, and the businessmen were corrupted because of the officials. To solve this fundamental problem, it was far from enough to just crack down. To fundamentally change the thinking of the people of Huaxia, this generation of public examiners had been imprisoned by their parents' idea of getting promoted and getting rich since they were young. It was true that being an official could change one's fate, but being an official definitely didn't just change one's own fate. You had to change the fate of more people. You had to serve the people. The idea of bowing one's head and willingly being an ox was really too rare in today's society. All the crimes back then were pushed onto me, Lin Yonghe said indifferently, but those who really had the power to control everything behind the scenes, no one dared to touch them. Why didn't Su Chen dare to touch those people, but only me? After you left, all the officials related to your case, from the high-ranking officials to the clerks, were all removed from their positions and expelled from the party. Those who committed serious crimes were sentenced to life imprisonment at the highest. Isn't that enough? Zhua Lengyue said, I can tell you very responsibly that the person who broke the chain of interests and power was Su Chen. Didn't Su Chen offend a lot of people because of these things? Do you think I want him to do these damn things for a government job? Speaking of this, Zhua Lengyue was angry. At that time, she really hoped that Su Chen could stand at the peak of the underground world with her, without those worldly troubles and no one to disturb them, so that they could live like an immortal couple. However, this was all a fantasy. Su Chen had sacrificed his entire life for the sake of righteousness. Even in the end, he still sacrificed his own interests for the sake of righteousness. None of you know why he was willing to go to Marty Franz Island's major criminal prison. Only I know. Zhua Lengyue still couldn't help but feel intense heartache when she thought of this. Didn't he do it for Yun Luyen? Lin Yonghe asked. Zhua Lengyue shook her head. On the surface, it was indeed so, but she knew the real reason. Yun Luyen's death was due to Su Chen's meddling in other people's business. She and Su Chen got together because Su Chen wanted to mislead that person into thinking that he was addicted to women. In the end, Su Chen forced that person into a desperate situation, and that person chose to go to Mardi Franz Island's major criminal prison. However, Su Chen realized a very serious problem at that time. If those people imprisoned in the 5th layer of Mardi Franz Island's major criminal prison had the help of that person, perhaps the most terrifying prison break in history would happen. For this reason, Su Chen took the risk to enter that damned place and killed that person with his own hands. Because he was sure that he wouldn't wallow in the mire with those heinous criminals in the 5th layer of the deep sea. He wouldn't help them escape. Just like that, Su Chen was trapped there forever, and everyone thought that he was avenging Yun Luyen. In fact, he knew very well what he was doing for. For the sake of the world's righteousness, he gave up his own life. Chapter 1552. It took Zhuo Langyue more than 10 years to understand the meaning of Su Chen's life. Only by understanding the meaning of Su Chen's life could she understand everything that he had done. Many times, Zhuo Langyue wondered why she fell in love with such a person. If she didn't fall in love with such a man, perhaps her life wouldn't be like this. Empress, who exactly are we? Ling Feng could see Zhuo Langyue's hesitation. He had also considered Dong Hai's words just now. Dong Hai definitely wasn't speaking up for Lin Yonghe. He just didn't want Zhuo Langyue to regret her decision. Therefore, Onan didn't raise any more questions and quietly waited for the Empress's decision. Ling Feng knew that Zhuo Langyue needed to give an answer as soon as possible. The more one thought about these things, the easier it would be for one to be at a loss. The best way was to settle everything once and for all. Currently, Zhuo Langyue indeed needed a quiet space to calm down. In the end, Zhuo Langyue couldn't harden her heart. It wasn't because she was soft-hearted, nor was it because she started to believe in Buddhism and didn't like killing. It was because she thought that since Su Chen had already been found by this man, if she ended everything here today, wouldn't Su Chen's heart be stifled as well? If Lin Yonghe had already found his son, perhaps Zhuo Langyue would have already taken action. But now, he didn't. If she killed him today, he would forever carry this regret into his coffin. Would this regret also be Su Chen's regret? Zhuo Langyue couldn't judge these things. She didn't know what she should do in the end. If Su Chen was really giving Lin Yonghe a chance, how could she bear to personally strangle this opportunity? Let him go. Zhuo Langyue ultimately chose to respect Su Yun's decision. Things had already happened. Lin Yonghe had already told Su Yun about the matter of Mardi Franz Island's serious criminals prison. What she had to do first was to execute Lin Yonghe. It was a foregone conclusion that Su Yun knew the truth. Now, Zhuo Langyue was very clear that the most important thing she should do was to think of a way to stop Su Yun from doing something foolish. She shouldn't continue to bicker with Lin Yonghe. In a way, Lin Yonghe was also a pitiful person. He was forced to become a profiteer by those who put on the mantle of serving the people, but only wanted to get promoted and get rich. If it weren't for those people, perhaps Lin Yonghe wouldn't have walked on those evil paths, and she wouldn't have been forced to the point where her family was ruined. It was inevitable for people who lost their wives and children to become psychopathic. Perhaps this was the reason why Su Chen let him go back then. Empress, you must think this through clearly, Ling Feng said. How about this? Leave Lin Yonghe to me for now. If you haven't changed your mind in 2 days, I'll send him away at once. This is the last chance I'm giving him. If he lets me see him in any part of Huaxia again, I won't be merciful. Zhuo Langyue nodded. She wasn't in the mood to consider this. She had given Ling Feng the right to make his own decision. However, since she had already decided to release him, she would not change her mind. After all, in a certain corner of the world, there might be a young man waiting for his father, who had experienced the vicissitudes of life, to find him. Lin Yonghe only had a child when she was 35 years old. She could be considered to have a child in her middle age. She should care about her child very much. Back then, she was forced to leave. Now, she must have let her regret completely crush her mind. Why don't you just kill me and let me end this once and for all? Killing me might be a better release for me. Lin Yonghe took a deep breath. He really hoped that everything was just a dream. He hoped that everything could go back in time. However, it was impossible for him to go back in time. Time had already passed. What should have happened had already happened. It was impossible for him to go back in time more than 20 years ago. Thinking that his son had already grown up and he didn't know where he was, all the hatred in Lin Yonghe's heart suddenly disappeared. He finally realized how ridiculous his arrangements for the past 20 years were. Not only did he ruin his own life, but he also ruined his biological son's life and Fan Bing's life. Of course, in a certain way, he also made Fan Bing's life a success. However, all these things didn't happen naturally. They were all caused by his desire for revenge. These were all deformed products. Do you want to die? Lin Yonghe, I didn't expect you to be so irresponsible in the end. Zhuo Langyue said, if I were you, I would at least know the current situation of my child before dying. Otherwise, I won't be able to die in peace. Lin Yonghe's heart felt as if it was pierced by a sharp dagger again. That kind of twisting pain was hysterical. He couldn't believe how his son had been all these years. What was he like now? Empress. I know you know a lot of things. If you know where my son is and if he's doing well, I'm willing to be your slave for the rest of my life. I don't need people like you around me. Zhuo Langyue said disdainfully, I do know a lot of things, but this is the only thing I don't know. There must be someone who knows about this. If you really want to, you can definitely find them. I don't want to see you now. Get out of here immediately. Get out. Ling Feng knew that there was no need for him to imprison Lin Yonghe for 2 days because Zhuo Langyue really didn't want to kill him now. The Empress has given you a chance. You'd better find the person you should find and make up for the debt you owe as a father. Lin Yonghe finally knelt down heavily in front of Zhuo Langyue in silence. When his knees hit the ground and made a loud sound, he knew that everything was over. He knelt down not only to thank Zhuo Langyue for giving him this chance, but also to thank Su Chen for giving him this chance more than 20 years ago. To repay evil with good. How should one repay good? It was only at this moment that Lin Yonghe realized that Su Chen wasn't his enemy, but his benefactor. Life was always full of twists and turns. Under this sudden reversal, Lin Yonghe felt helpless and hesitant. Zhuo Langyue knew that she needed to meet Su Yun as soon as possible. However, if she met Su Yun so abruptly, not only would she not get the result she wanted, but it would also make Su Yun even more unable to erase that thought in his heart. She needed someone to help her, and there was indeed one person who could help her. Yes, it was Bai Xiaoye. Zhuo Langyue knew that she owed Bai Xiaoye an explanation for more than 20 years. Bai Xiaoye must have a question about her father. However, she couldn't ask this question because she had kept it in her heart for so long. Perhaps it would hurt anyone to mention it, but Zhuo Langyue had to do it, because Xiaoye was the only one who could stop Su Yun. Zhuo Langyue would never allow Su Yun to do something crazy. Zhuo Langyue had to stop it. She wouldn't allow that man's son to have any more accidents. Wasn't this the last thing she could do for him? Lin Yonghe left in a daze. Zhuo Langyue also dismissed everyone and came to the film and television hotel alone. The relationship between her and her daughter had indeed recovered a lot, but it still hadn't reached the level of intimacy where they could talk about everything. After all, the crack was too deep. Therefore, they needed time, a very long time to heal the wound completely. Bai Xiaoye knew that Zhuo Langyue was coming, so of course, she would welcome her in person. She arranged a room for them, and they went to the internal bar of the hotel at Zhuo Langyue's request. Zhuo Langyue had never thought that she would sit down and drink with her daughter. Really, they were like friends, like bosom friends. What do you want to drink? My treat. Bai Xiaoye smiled and tried to make herself look relaxed, but to be honest, she really felt a little uncomfortable. Zhuo Langyue also looked at her daughter with a smile. I'm fine with anything. As long as you can sit here and chat with me, that's enough. Chapter 1553. Bai Xiaoye cherished this opportunity to drink with Zhuo Langyue. In her memory, She had never sat face to face with Zhualangyue like this. Until now, Zhualangyue was still playing the role of her strict teacher in her heart. How could she have the opportunity to drink with such a strict teacher? Of course, although Bai Xiaoye had never drunk with Zhualangyue, she was very clear about Zhualangyue's taste. Zhualangyue didn't like to drink strong alcohol. She wasn't particularly interested in Hua Xia's white wine or European whiskey. She liked to drink red wine, and her taste for red wine was quite high. With high taste, the requirements were naturally high. Therefore, the red wine that Bai Xiaoye brought was naturally not ordinary. This was a rare treasure that Yi Fala had specially flown to Qingdao from the wine warehouse of Shenzhong Xinkai Hotel. This was all for Su Yun's consideration. Because there would be many people with good taste staying in the movie and television hotel, some of these people were particularly demanding. Therefore, Yi Fala knew that since Su Yun's hotel had a built-in bar, he needed this kind of luxurious drink. This way, not only could she satisfy the needs of the guests, but she could also gain a lot of benefits. Why not? After seeing this, Zhualangyue shook her head and stopped the waiter who was about to open the wine. She said to Bai Xiaoye, "Let's drink strong alcohol today? Can you?" "Of course." Bai Xiaoye nodded. However, she didn't expect Zhualangyue to make such a request. She didn't care, but she was worried about whether Zhualangyue could accept it or not. "Then let's drink." "Forget it, you order. I feel that all strong alcohol tastes the same." "Then give us 2 bottles of whiskey." Zhualangyue ordered a very common kind of whiskey, but this kind of whiskey was also very popular in the United States. It was estimated that it was almost the same as the 6 years of Confucius's family. It was delicious and not expensive. Ordinary people could afford it. "Are you sure?" Bai Xiaoye looked at Zhualangyue in disbelief. This kind of alcohol was considered low grade in her eyes, let alone in Zhualangyue's eyes. Bai Xiaoye couldn't believe her ears that she would drink this kind of alcohol. "The taste of this alcohol is ordinary, right? If you want to drink whiskey, although there isn't anything particularly precious here, there is a 50-year-old Dalmore." Zhualangyue smiled and shook her head. She understood Bai Xiaoye's meaning. Because Zhualangyue herself wasn't someone who was fond of wine, she would occasionally drink some extraordinary wine. The 50-year-old Dalmore that Bai Xiaoye mentioned might not be as expensive as those rare red wines, but it was still worth tens of thousands of dollars in the market. 2 bottles of bourbon, please," Zhualangyue said to the waiter with great certainty. The waiter could tell that this was a VIP, so he locked his eyes on Bai Xiaoye and tried to get the boss's permission before he dared to take the wine. Bai Xiaoye knew that Zhualangyue was serious, so she nodded and signaled the waiter to do as she said. Soon, 2 bottles of bourbon were placed in front of them. Bai Xiaoye opened the bottle and poured a glass for Zhualangyue with a smile. "Why are you drinking with me today? I'm really not used to it." "Yeah, I'm not used to it either. We don't seem to have sat together and chatted like this before." Zhualangyue was in a melancholic mood today. "Xiaoye, do you hate Mom a lot?" "I do," Bai Xiaoye admitted generously. Even though her smile was still a little forced, she did forgive Zhualangyue's behavior. "But I also understand you. Some lies can't be stopped once they start. I try to think about it from your point of view, so I understand you." Bai Xiaoye raised her glass and clinked it with Zhualangyue's before taking a deep sip. Zhualangyue drank everything in her glass. "It's been hard on you. It's not just me. We're all the same," Bai Xiaoye said. Bai Xiaoye said, "The feelings you're enduring might be even greater than mine. The pressure in your heart might be beyond my imagination. Mom, you really don't have to blame yourself." Hearing this, Zhualangyue felt that everything she did in her life was worth it. "Then do you hate your father?" Zhualangyue's question was very abrupt, and Bai Xiaoye was stunned. She didn't know how to answer. Hate? Not really, because she didn't have any impression of this person. Not hate. How could that be possible? After all, he was the closest person to her. But she had never even seen him. How could she not hate such an irresponsible father? But no matter what, these weren't problems that Bai Xiaoye had considered. There was no place in her heart for her father whom she had never met. I don't know how to say it. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. If we're talking about hate, I think Su Yun should hate him more, right? After all, he was abandoned after he was born. As for me, maybe he doesn't even know that he has a daughter like me. I don't care. I really don't care. Su Yun will hate. Zhuo Lengyue was startled. But if he can understand your father like you understand me, maybe he won't hate him. What do you think? Bai Xiaoye was a little surprised. Why would Zhuo Lengyue suddenly talk to her about these profound questions? Wasn't it better to never think about these questions? Why did she have to bring them out? It might be better for everyone to bury them in the bottom of their hearts forever. I don't know, but my brother isn't an unreasonable person. If that person's actions can be understood, then I believe my brother will understand him. Bai Xiaoye said, but I'll forget about it because I don't have a definition of the word father in my heart. Zhuo Lengyue smiled bitterly. That's because you don't know how great your father is, so you don't have a definition of him in your heart. But Su Yun is different from you. Su Yun can understand. This is what I'm worried about. Xiaoye, I need you to help me. To be exact, I need you to help your brother. Bai Xiaoye was startled. Help my brother? What happened to him? I don't know where to start, but to put it simply, he has confirmed your father's whereabouts, and that place is an absolute forbidden area. Once you enter, you will never be able to leave. Zhuo Lengyue said, I need someone to convince him to give up the idea of going to that place, but I don't have the confidence to convince him. You're the only person I can think of who can accomplish this. Bai Xiaoye doubted her ears. The man in her heart who was her father had died long ago. Why did he suddenly appear in their world? What do you mean? Bai Xiaoye even felt her heart beating faster. Although she said that her father didn't have a place in her heart, she still felt nervous when it came to this matter. This was something she couldn't hide. While drinking, Zhuo Lengyue used the shortest way to tell Bai Xiaoye everything she knew. She also told Bai Xiaoye about her judgment of Su Yun's psychological state. When Bai Xiaoye understood the ins and outs of the matter, she realized that this matter was indeed urgent. She knew better than anyone else about Su Yun's feelings for their father. When they were chatting in America, she could tell how much Su Yun wanted to see their father. Now that there was an opportunity, with Su Yun's character, he definitely wouldn't let it go. However, Bai Xiaoye also knew from Zhuo Lengyue that this was definitely not an opportunity, but a trap. She had to stop him. She also understood the real reason why Zhuo Lengyue came to talk to her. To be honest, Bai Xiaoye felt a little disappointed. However, she could understand. If she didn't force Zhuo Lengyue into a corner, she really wouldn't be able to talk to her. Didn't this give them a chance to ease their relationship? Chapter 1554. Mom, don't worry. Bai Xiaoye reassured Zhuo Lengyue. She knew what she should do now. I know that you want to protect Su Yun because he is the man you love, and I will protect him because he is my brother. No matter whether I acknowledge him as my father or not, I will always acknowledge that Su Yun is my brother. I will not watch him walk into the fire pit. Zhuo Lengyue drank the last of the bourbon in the glass. The stone in her heart was finally lifted. With Xiaoye looking after Su Yun, she was more than a little relieved. Coupled with her secret protection, she believed that they would be able to stop Su Yun from doing something crazy. As long as Su Yun did not do anything stupid, she would not regret letting Lin Yonghe go. It was already very late. Zhuo Lengyue was exhausted from the mental pressure and mental struggle of the day. Although Bai Xiaoye liked the current atmosphere, she still asked the waiter to take away the whiskey that was less than a third and personally led Zhuo Lengyue to the room that had been arranged. After returning to the hotel room, Bai Xiaoye poured a cup of hot water for Zhuo Lengyue. Mom, it's late. You should rest early. I will leave first. Tomorrow, I will have a good talk with Su Yun and try my best to eliminate his dangerous thoughts. If he doesn't have such thoughts, we can be at ease earlier. Xiaoye. Zhuo Lengyue nodded and slowly changed the topic. Can you not leave tonight? Do you remember when we were young? You and Xiao Qiao always pestered me to sleep with you. Zhuo Langyue felt a little sad when she thought of that time. At that time, Xiao Ye could only call her master like Xiao Qiao, and she was so strict with them. Now that she thought about it, Zhuo Langyue felt that she really should not have done that. She really wanted to make it up to Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye was so young back then. Every time she wanted her to sleep with her, she would be sternly rejected. Zhuo Langyue did not dare to imagine what Xiao Ye's mental state was like back then. However, Bai Xiaoye was no longer the little girl who needed a warm hug and motherly love. She was now an adult. She could no longer remember the last time she asked for a hug from the only elder in front of her. To be honest, she really didn't need it anymore. However, Bai Xiaoye didn't have the heart to refuse. Although she didn't need it anymore, she knew that Zhuo Langyue, her master, and her mother needed it. Alright, let's talk for a while. Bai Xiaoye agreed easily. Then I'll go prepare the bath for you first. You've been working hard all day. Drink some water and rest well. Zhuo Langyue felt her nose turn sour in an instant. She held back the tears that were about to burst out of her eyes and nodded heavily. The sensible daughter in her eyes had really grown up and was much more mature than she had imagined. That kind of relief was something that she could only experience as a mother. Although the relationship between Zhuo Langyue and Bai Xiaoye had eased a lot, Zhuo Langyue still had to leave the next day. She didn't want her existence to disturb Su Yun or Bai Xiaoye's lives. They were already adults and should have their own lives and their own circles. Many times, all parents would have a headache when their children grew up. They felt that their children were rebellious and didn't listen to their words or do things according to their instructions. In fact, it wasn't that their children were rebellious. The word rebellious was only suitable for parents. In fact, this so-called rebellion was a kind of growth and a sign of maturity. Everyone would have their own thoughts and judgment when they matured. They would learn to use their own actions to take responsibility for their own lives. When a person started to pursue their own life, started to have their own dreams and ideals, and then did what they thought they should do, it wasn't that they were rebellious, but that they had grown up. On this point, all parents in the world were contradictory. They wanted their children to grow up and mature, but they also didn't want them to rebel and not listen to their arrangements. However, who would know that the price of growing up was the so-called disobedience? Humans were subjective animals. Humans could rule all the creatures in the world. They could lock lions and tigers in zoos for them to admire. It wasn't just because humans were intelligent animals. Another reason was that humans were subjective animals. Everyone would be used to standing in their own point of view to view the world. Therefore, humans could rule everything. People's thoughts couldn't be forced. This was also the reason why there was no right or wrong in many things. Different people would have different approaches to a matter. It was a very normal phenomenon to seek common ground while reserving differences, especially between parents and children. Some parents would blame their children for never wanting to communicate with them, but they had never thought about it. Was it because they didn't communicate with their children from the beginning? Or was it because every communication was just a disguised order that caused their children to alienate themselves and stop communicating with them? Zhuo Langyue didn't educate Bai Xiaoye as a mother, but as a master, she had done everything right. She had always respected Bai Xiaoye's thoughts. Even if her thoughts were wrong, she would let her run into a wall and learn to grow up in adversity. This might be the only thing that Zhuo Langyue felt she didn't need to regret in her life. Therefore, Zhuo Langyue would still give Bai Xiaoye all the space that belonged to her. What she needed to do was to watch her silently. When Bai Xiaoye needed help, she would still rush out regardless of anything. It wasn't to make up for her, but because she was a mother. That's right. Every mother in the world was great. Even if a mother had made a mistake that could never be made up for, she was still great. After seeing Zhuo Langyue off, Bai Xiaoye went to find Su Yun at once. She needed to talk to Su Yun frankly. As a younger sister, she needed to talk about their father. Only by doing this could she stop Su Yun's heart from flying to the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island. Su Yun's heart had indeed flown away. Since he got the confirmation from Lin Yonghe, His mind was full of questions about the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island. It was a place of no return. But if you were an ordinary person, you wouldn't be able to go there even if you wanted to. Now, although Su Yun wanted to go to the important criminals' prison on Mardi Fran Island to investigate, he didn't even know where Mardi Fran Island was. This isolated island without any coordinates in the Pacific Ocean was a place that didn't exist in the eyes of ordinary people in this world. Su Yun now needed someone to tell him the coordinates of Mardi Fran Island. There must be someone who knew this place. And Su Yun knew a lot of people who knew him. Among the people he knew, there must be many who knew. Wan Guangxiao must know, Wang Yi might know, Zhualangyue must know, and Huang Fuguo might also know. Lin Ji's master, Lu Xuanji, Gu Zueran, Wu Qiuzi, and so on. They should all know where Marty Francis Island was. However, Su Yun was also very clear that although these people knew about it, they would definitely not tell him the location. Even if he talked until his mouth cracked, he was afraid that there was no way he could get anything out of these people. And once Su Yun asked this question, they would inevitably doubt his motives. This was the most troublesome thing for Su Yun. He couldn't ask these people. Because of this matter, Su Yun almost racked his brains. Even in a very important meeting this morning, he had been in a state of absent-mindedness. Many times, it was Lin Gu who reminded him that he came back to his senses. Su Yun knew that he was not in a good state, but he still couldn't control himself to think about this matter. As soon as he returned to the office, Su Yun stared at the satellite map of the Pacific Ocean on the computer screen in a daze. He zoomed in on the map, but no matter how close it was impossible for people to eliminate the islands one by one in the vast Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean was still a sea that had not been conquered by human beings. Its surface area was larger than all the continents on Earth combined. There were more than 25,000 islands of various sizes scattered on the surface of the sea. Half of these islands were still uninhabited. Many of these islands did not have names, and there were many that had not been counted yet. Because on this ocean, how many islands would sink with the rising tide and rise with the falling tide was a number that no one could be sure of. It was really too difficult to find them by himself. Chapter 1555. While Su Yun was deep in thought, Bai Xiaoye quietly walked into the office without him noticing. Bai Xiaoye knew what Su Yun was thinking, so she carefully snuck behind Su Yun. Su Yun had already sensed someone, but Bai Xiaoye's aura was familiar, so it didn't affect his thoughts. The Pacific Ocean extends from the coast of the Antarctic to the Bering Strait. It covers 1/3 of the Earth's ocean. After seeing the image on Su Yun's computer screen, Bai Xiaoye understood what Su Yun meant. "Brother, when did you have the mood to study the Pacific Ocean?" Su Yun's gaze finally left the computer screen. "Your brother knows everything about astronomy and geography. I've always loved to explore all the places that haven't been conquered by humans. I was thinking, the Pacific Ocean is so big. How many places have humans not been to? How many islands do you think there are in the ocean that haven't been recognized by the world?" "That's a lot. It's probably impossible to count," Bai Xiaoye said. She knew what Su Yun was thinking. He must be looking for the Mardi Fran Island prison for serious criminals. Su Yun was like some people who knew about the Mardi Fran Island prison for serious criminals. He only knew that the prison was set up on Mardi Fran Island, but he didn't know where it was. Looking for a small island in the vast Pacific Ocean was like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was impossible. This was a little too ridiculous. Bai Xiaoye smiled bitterly in her heart. Perhaps Zhualangyue's worries were unnecessary. If Su Yun wanted to go to such a place, it would take him a long time to find it. How could it be so easy to find a small island in the Pacific Ocean? It was simply ridiculous. "Brother, do you really know everything about astronomy and geography? If you want to do something in the Pacific Ocean, you should at least know the basics of the Pacific Ocean. Can you tell me about it?" Bai Xiaoye pondered for a while and decided to create some difficulties first. It would be best if she could make Su Yun back off. How was the Pacific Ocean formed? Su Yun was stunned. How would he know? "I'm not a primary school student with 1,000 whys. How would I know how the Pacific Ocean was formed? The Earth is mostly made up of water. It's normal for there to be a Pacific Ocean. This is the same as the formation of other oceans. So, what other questions do you want to ask me? Bring it on. Wrong. Bai Xiaoye's understanding of geography was far better than Su Yun's. There was a period of time when she was almost crazy about geography. Even Zhuo Langyue had thought of grooming Bai Xiaoye to become a geographer. However, Zhuo Langyue couldn't bear to do so when she thought that a geographer had to wander the world and live in the open. Su Yun was stunned. How is it wrong? The Pacific Ocean is the largest tectonic unit on Earth. Compared to the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Arctic Ocean, it has a lot of unique and different evolutionary history. For example, there are seismic and volcanic belts around the Pacific Ocean, widely developed island arcs, trenches, and obvious differences in the tectonic history of the two sides of the ocean. These are all different from the other oceans. Therefore, the formation of the Pacific Ocean is definitely different from the other oceans. For a long time, scientists have proposed many hypotheses about the formation of the Pacific Ocean. In the middle of the 19th century, George Darwin proposed a hypothesis about the separation of the moon. Bai Xiaoye continued. Su Yun was stunned. Bai Xiaoye had really shocked him. Wait, how do you know so much? Do you really know about the Pacific Ocean? If Bai Xiaoye knew about the Pacific Ocean, he might be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort if she could help him. Of course, why would I lie to you? Bai Xiaoye said, I was absolutely obsessed with geography back then. Not only the Pacific Ocean, I studied the formation of all the oceans. I was definitely a professional geography fanatic. If you didn't insist on me helping you at Sky Entertainment Group, I would have gone straight to the famous World Geography magazine. I would have interviewed to be a wanderer. Then, are you familiar with the distribution of the islands in the Pacific Ocean? Su Yun instantly felt that he had found a treasure. If Bai Xiaoye could give him some pointers, he wouldn't have to stare at the satellite map aimlessly. His eyes were almost dazzled. Quick, tell me. Bai Xiaoye knew what Su Yun was thinking. He wanted her to help him, but she also knew that even if she really wanted to help him, it would be useless. There are many islands in the Pacific Ocean. They are mainly distributed in the western and central seas. According to their nature, they are divided into continental islands and ocean islands. For example, Japan Island and Taiwan Island are both continental islands. I want to know more about ocean islands. Su Yun, Marty Francis Island was obviously not a continental island. It was located in the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Tell me about ocean islands. Do you know any strange ocean islands? The more dangerous they are, the more I like to know. Bai Xiaoye nodded. Ocean islands are divided into volcanic islands and coral islands. For example, the Hawaiian Islands in Polynesia are famous for their volcanic islands. The Micronesia Islands are almost all coral islands. I know these too. I want to know about the mysterious islands that I don't know about. Xiaoye, you have studied geography and the Pacific Ocean. You must know more than me. Tell me about them. Su Yun's eyes were full of anticipation. Brother, do you want to go on an adventure? Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. Then go to Adventure Islands. I'm being serious, Su Yun said. Stop joking with me. Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue. There are many mysterious islands in the Pacific Ocean. I want to test you on a question. If you answer correctly, I will tell you. You have to prove to me that your IQ is good enough to go on an adventure island. Su Yun's face darkened. He was completely speechless. There was once an explorer who landed on an isolated island in the Pacific Ocean, but he didn't expect there to be natives on the island. The natives didn't want to be disturbed by outsiders, so the explorer was captured. The native priest told him that he could leave a sentence before he died. If it was true, he would be burned to death. If it was false, he would be torn apart. How could the poor explorer survive? Bai Xiaoye provoked. Do you know that there are many dangers in this world? Su Yun snorted helplessly. Isn't this just a brain twister? Then I'll tell the natives that I left a sentence. I will be torn apart by you. Bai Xiaoye was startled. She felt as if she had been dismembered by 5 horses. If what he said was true, then he should be burned to death. If what he said was a lie, then he should be dismembered by 5 horses. This cycle. With the intelligence of the natives, they probably wouldn't know how to solve it. Okay, stop joking with me. Tell me about those mysterious islands in the Pacific Ocean that you know, Su Yun said. My good sister, I beg you. Hearing this, Bai Xiaoye sat on the chair opposite Su Yun's desk seriously. Brother, let me ask you. Actually, you don't want to know about any mysterious islands. You just want to know about an island, right? Su Yun looked up at Bai Xiaoye with a surprised expression. You just want to know about Marty Franz Island, the geographical coordinates of this island, and the structure of this island, right? Bai Xiaoye asked, Brother, don't hide it from me, and I won't hide it from you either. I know why you want to go to Marty Franz Island. If Su Yun's expression earlier was one of shock, then he was now completely calm. He really didn't expect Bai Xiaoye to know all of this. Did she tell you? Su Yun believed that Bai Xiaoye didn't have this ability. The one who really had the ability to know all this must be Zhuo Langyue. Bai Xiaoye nodded and didn't deny it. Yes, she told me. She knows what you want to do. She cares about you. Chapter 1556. Su Yun couldn't figure out how Zhuo Langyue knew all this, but the Empress was the Empress after all. If she wanted to know something, no one could stop her. I know. She definitely knows where Marty Franz Island is. Su Yun smiled. But if I ask her, she definitely won't tell me. You didn't mention this to me because you support me, right? Bai Xiaoye nodded sincerely. That's right, she really didn't support Ran Boqian. Brother, you're really stupid. Although I don't know what kind of prison Marty Franz Island is, it's so hard to find. You can imagine how dangerous it is. Of course I know. If Marty Franz Island isn't dangerous enough and hard to find, it definitely won't be used as a prison for serious criminals. Su Yun said, I've thought about it. Marty Franz Island is definitely the most dangerous island in the Pacific Ocean. Only such an island is qualified to be used as a prison for serious criminals. That's a place of no return. Do you really want to go there? Bai Xiaoye said, For a father you don't even know what he looks like. This sentence provoked Su Yun. Su Yun looked up at Bai Xiaoye and asked, Don't you want to see him? No, Bai Xiaoye said firmly. Bai Xiaoye answered firmly, No matter what the reason is, no matter how great he is, no matter how much he pays for something he thinks is worth it, I can understand him, but I can't accept him or love him. But he gave you life. Su Yun said, Isn't that enough for you to forgive him for everything he did wrong? I don't mean to blame him. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. I really don't have any feelings for him. If it wasn't for him, I might not have to come to this world and suffer all the pain I didn't want to. I've already done my best to not blame him. Bai Xiaoye said, I really can't try to love him. Brother, maybe I don't understand your world, but you don't understand mine either. I can't do anything crazy for him like you can. Su Yun shook his head. It's not for him. It's for myself, and also for you. Since I already know that he is still alive in a corner of this earth, I must find a way to find him. Not only do I want to see him, but I also want him to see you and apologize to you personally. Bai Xiaoye replied sternly, I don't need his apology. I just want you to give up your ridiculous idea. You can't go, because you won't be able to come back if you go. Nothing is certain in this world. It's not like there haven't been any successful escapes from Marty Franz Island. Su Yun said, Since someone can escape from that island alive, it means there's still a chance. Do you know the difference between the first floor and the 5th floor of Marty Franz Island? Bai Xiaoye said, They're not even on the same level. You know, the man you're looking for isn't on the 1st floor of Marty Franz Island. He's on the 5th floor. The 5th floor of the deep-sea prison. How are you going to get him out? Su Yun really hadn't considered this question. All he could think about now was how to find Marty Franz Island. As for what to do after finding the island, he really didn't know. He had never considered this question before. Have you ever thought about why she didn't go to that place if it's easy to get someone out? Bai Xiaoye said, "In my world, no one loves that man more than my mother. She can give up everything for him, no matter the cost. But even she gave up, because she knows very well that there's really no chance of coming back from that place. Brother, I beg you, wake up. Don't make such meaningless sacrifices. Everything you've done is meaningless." Su Yun suddenly asked, "Since she hasn't been there, why are you so sure that there's no return?" Bai Xiaoye was really helpless. Su Yun went into a dead end. What kind of people are locked up in that place? If it's really possible to get out, why are those people still willing to be locked up there? How many people know that he's in Marty Franz Island? Everyone who knows about this is probably more powerful than you. Why didn't any of them go there? Su Yun said indifferently, "Because they all think that it's a place of no return." "So it's indeed a place of no return," Bai Xiaoye said. "So many elders who are more powerful than you know that it's a place of no return. Why can't you listen to them?" "Because none of them have been to that place. That's why they say that it's a place of no return." "It's just a theory," Su Yun said firmly. "Why should I believe their one-sided words when no one has ever done it?" Bai Xiaoye was stunned. She couldn't understand what Su Yun was thinking. Those who have the right to say that there's no return can only be those who have been there and never returned. Su Yun said, "Those who haven't been there? They don't have the right to say that." "Brother, are you so stubborn?" Bai Xiaoye said, "Those who have been there can't come back. How can they tell you that they can't come back? So many elders have said so. This is the conclusion of many years of experience. It's not a casual statement. It's a fact, a truth. This is not a fact that you can refute with this kind of fallacy." Su Yun shrugged. "But even if it's a place of no return, I still want to explore it. What should I do?" "Brother, you're really crazy." Bai Xiaoye said, "Let's stop talking about this today. Let's not talk about whether there's really a place of no return. Let's talk about where Marty Franz Island is and how to find it. We don't have a clue at all. How can we find it?" This was the problem, that Su Yun was having a headache. "I originally hoped that you could help me find this place. Who knew that you would oppose me the moment you opened your mouth? You don't support me. I'm not going to tell you. The Pacific Ocean is 18,000 square kilometers, and the deepest Mariana Trench is more than 11,000 meters deep." Bai Xiaoye said, "Are you sure you want to find Marty Franz Island in such an ocean?" Su Yun nodded. "Nothing is impossible in this world if one sets his mind to it. The Shu Dao is difficult. It's even harder than the Shu Dao," Bai Xiaoye said angrily. "Can't you listen to me properly? Don't be so stupid. Xiaoye, are you sure you don't want to see him?" Su Yun suddenly became serious. "I know. You can say that you forgive him and don't need his apology. But have you ever considered that he might be tortured by himself? What if he knows that he owes you an apology? I want to help him. I really want to help him." Bai Xiaoye looked at Su Yun's serious face and was at a loss. Perhaps this was his brother. If Su Yun was not such a person, he would not be his brother. "Even if the price of helping him might be to ruin your life?" Bai Xiaoye asked seriously. "I won't ruin my life so easily." Su Yun said, "I believe that there's only one place in this world that you can't return from, the crematorium. Apart from that place, there's no other place that you can't return from. If you can enter, there must be a way out." Su Yun's words were full of philosophy. Bai Xiaoye could not help but think of a way out. However, she quickly came back to her senses. She was here to persuade Su Yun. She could not let him lead her into a ditch. Chapter 1557. Yes, there must be a way out if you can enter. There's no difference between an entrance and an exit. But the problem is that no one is allowed to come out of that place. Bai Xiaoye said, "Brother, I definitely can't watch you walk down this path of no return. If you must go, then bring me along." Su Yun refused without even thinking about it. "Don't even think about it. I will never bring you there. If I really can't come out, I will never implicate anyone. Not to mention you, even Lin Gu and the others can forget about participating in this matter with me. Whether this matter succeeds or not, I will bear the responsibility alone." "Do you know what kind of behavior you are doing?" Bai Xiaoye said, "In the past, you would think of your brothers for everything and complete everything with their cooperation. You would ask them to cooperate with you, which means that you are confident in winning and will not let them fall into danger like you. But this time, you are not willing to look for anyone, not even Lin Gu. What does that mean?" "It means that you are not confident in winning at all. Although you say that you will return if you go, you don't believe in your own words, do you?" Su Yun was completely stumped by Bai Xiaoye's words. He had nothing to refute. Indeed, he admitted that he was not confident at all. He knew the principles that Bai Xiaoye had told him before. No one knew better than Su Yun whether this matter was a one-way trip. Why didn't so many chivalrous and righteous people join forces to go to that place? Even his godfather, Zhang Jinji, did not have the thought of saving people? Impossible. He must have done it. Su Yun dared to guarantee that the old Tai Sui must have thought of fishing out his disappointing old man at that time. However, he really didn't have that ability. He really couldn't do it, so he didn't do it. Su Yun knew better than anyone what kind of crazy action this was. Moreover, he knew very well why Lin Yonghe had told him everything about Marty Franz Island. Of course, Lin Yonghe did not suddenly want to be a good person. He was setting a trap for him to jump into. Su Yun was very clear about what kind of fiery pit it would be to jump into this step. However, he just couldn't control his thoughts. No matter what, he wanted to complete this matter. He really wanted to let Lin Yonghe see that not only did he fail to trick him, but he also gave him a chance to do so. To Su Yun, this piece of news was simply too important. Su Yun had always needed such confirmation in his heart, but he could not get it. Now that he had it, how could he let go so easily? "I won't force you to do it, but I hope that you can promise me that if you are not confident, don't do anything stupid," Bai Xiaoye said. Bai Xiaoye said, "If you're 100% confident, then go ahead and do it. I won't stop you. On the contrary, I'll even help you." Su Yun forced a smile. "Of course I won't do anything so impulsive. Aren't I preparing now? Don't worry, I won't act impulsively." "Xiaoye, how did your mother know all this?" Of course, Bai Xiaoye had asked around last night. She knew that Lin Yonghe was looking for trouble with you, so she went to talk to Lin Yonghe. This fellow confessed, and he told you about Marty Franz Island, not to help you, but to hurt you. Of course I know that. Su Yun smiled and asked, "Then, has she already given Lin Yonghe to?" "I hope so, but my mother didn't." "She let him go," Bai Xiaoye said. Su Yun was stunned. This did not seem like Zhua Lingyue's style. "Why?" "Because that person also gave Lin Yonghe a chance back then, so." Bai Xiaoye shrugged helplessly. "I really don't understand. If that man hadn't let her go back then, you wouldn't be in such a dangerous situation today. Now, my mother actually let him go, saying that she gave him a chance to find a child. I'm not interested, and I didn't really listen. Anyway, that man didn't die." Su Yun nodded. "Lin Yonghe was lucky. That's good too. Let people off whenever possible. You are so magnanimous." Bai Xiaoye tried to change the topic. "Don't think about that for now. Deal with your work first. When I came to find you, I heard that some middle-level managers downstairs were complaining about you. They said that you were absent-minded during the meeting about the technology film industry." Su Yun rubbed his temples. "Really? I was absent-minded? Wait, what did you just say?" "I said that you were absent-minded during the meeting about the technology film industry, and that caused some middle-level managers to complain about you," Bai Xiaoye said. Su Yun slapped his forehead. Sigh, this really gave him a headache. This meeting about the technology film industry was very important, but he was really absent-minded. He couldn't even remember what was said during the meeting. This really gave him a headache. Moreover, Zhou Meiyan had specifically told him that this conference was very important to Sky Entertainment. Nowadays, Hollywood's box office blockbusters were all science-based blockbusters. Acting alone was no longer enough to reach the selling point of today's society. Nowadays, the highest-grossing movies in the world were all technology films, such as Avatar, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Gold of Transformation, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alice in Wonderland, and Batman, The Dark Knight. These were all technology films. If Sky Entertainment really wanted to become the Hollywood of the East, it had to create a technology film industry. Many of the Hollywood production teams were Chinese. As the people with the highest IQ in the world, it wasn't difficult for Sky Entertainment to create a world-class production team. Today's meeting was mainly to discuss the creation of a special effects production team. This was a very important issue for Sky Entertainment. But on this issue, Su Yun was absent-minded. He couldn't even remember what the meeting was about. Wasn't this troublesome? Zhou Meiyan was still waiting for him to give her a proposal. Xiaoye, stay here and help me with another thing. I'll reorganize my memories. You can also give me some suggestions. Su Yun said and quickly dialed the number of the general assistant. Immediately inform all the middle-level managers of the company that the meeting that just ended will be reconvened. I have an important issue to announce. Yes. The general assistant was stunned by Su Yun's reaction. Just now, he saw that Su Yun was absent-minded. Now, it was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. What kind of good idea did he come up with? When everyone received the notice, they might have doubts in this regard. After all, the meeting had just ended less than half an hour ago. In this half an hour, Chairman Su had been revived? No one dared to ask why he was absent-minded just now. Since they received the notice to reconvene the meeting, they could only obediently reconvene. Regarding this matter, Su Yun first apologized. He didn't want the people present to be emotional. Then, he restarted the issue of Sky Entertainment's transformation into a technology film industry. At present, the biggest contradiction was restarted. Su Yun, who was focused, was also fully involved in the meeting. Bai Xiaoye finally breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Su Yun's serious expression. However, she also knew that this was only a temporary relief for Su Yun's impulsiveness. Su Yun's desire to go to Marty Franz Island was still deeply rooted. Chapter 1558. When Su Yun was absent-minded, some of the middle managers complained that their boss wasn't serious. Now that Su Yun was serious, most of them felt a headache. This was because Su Yun's demands were too high. There were all kinds of difficulties, problems, and tasks that they couldn't solve. Thinking about how they would probably have to run around for the next year and how they wouldn't even have time to rest, some of them started to sigh before they even started working. After all, they hadn't even started yet. Su Yun didn't hold back and directly questioned the middle managers who had problems with their work attitudes. Although this determined attitude made everyone feel pressured, everyone present knew that Sky Entertainment would definitely soar because of this. Hua Xia had so many technological talents, so many good authors and screenwriters. Maybe in the near future, they would really be able to make a large-scale sci-fi fantasy movie that would surpass Avatar. The meeting didn't even have time for lunch. By 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Su Yun felt a burst of hunger. Only then did he realize that time had flown by. Okay, today's meeting is over. Everyone go back and make a summary report. You don't need to give it to me, just give it to President Zhou. Su Yun, although President Zhou took a flight to Europe yesterday afternoon to attend the Golden Bird Awards and didn't personally attend this meeting, she still attached great importance to this meeting. Therefore, I hope that everyone will take your reports seriously. President Zhu's temper isn't as good as mine. You all know that. Yes, Zhou Meiyan's demands were even higher than Su Yun's. Everyone had hope in their hearts, but they also had a lot of pressure on their shoulders. This kind of situation could make a person successful, but it could also crush a person. It all depended on one's ability to bear it. Why would some people stay as employees their whole life? Some people could become middle managers, some could become senior managers, and some could even become big bosses. In fact, a lot of the time, the difference between people wasn't education or ability. Let's not talk about those with high grades and low abilities. Even if you had high grades and low grades, if you didn't take responsibility, you would still end up with nothing in the end. A lot of the time, what was needed in the workplace was responsibility. If you wanted to be middle managers, you had to be more responsible than employees. If you wanted to be a senior manager, you had to have a certain level of responsibility. If you wanted to be a boss, of course you can, then your tolerance and ability to take responsibility must be far beyond that of ordinary people. Smart people know that when you owe the bank $1 million, it's your own personal problem. If you have the ability to owe the bank $100 million, then this is the bank's problem. If you can owe the bank $10 billion, it will become the country's problem. How much debt you can afford to pay is how big a boss you can be, how much responsibility you have, and how much you can accomplish. It's that simple. There was a particularly interesting story. There was a man who drove an S-Class Mercedes-Benz that cost millions. He took a loan of $10 million from the bank and lived on the edge of life and death. A man who drove a 200,000 yuan Volkswagen Passat had a mortgage of 800,000 yuan. His life was in dire straits. A person who rode an electric scooter that cost 2,000 renminbi had a savings of 100,000 renminbi. His life was comfortable, yet at the same time, confused. The three of them met on the road. The one who rode an electric bike envied the one who drove a Volkswagen. The one who drove a Volkswagen envied the one who drove a Mercedes. He really envied people who rode electric scooters. Was this the reality of society? Everyone had become slaves to money and fate. Cats like to eat fish, but cats can't swim. Fish like to eat earthworms, but fish can't go ashore. God gives you a lot of temptations, but He doesn't let you get them easily. Of course, you can't cry out in pain when you bleed, turn on the lights when you're afraid of the dark, or contact someone when you miss them. No matter how big a matter is today, it will be a small matter tomorrow. No matter how big a matter is this year, it will be a story next year. In the end, people are just people with stories. Life is like a dandelion. It seems free, but you can't control yourself. The things that should be done must be done. Even the seemingly difficult tasks would eventually be completed. A company, a group, if they could let you become a senior manager, it would not be for nothing. If you could not solve the problem, why didn't the boss raise a Tom, Dick, or Harry? At this moment, the middle management of Sky Entertainment's Piano Island was deep in thought in their office. Some people couldn't understand why such a big thing couldn't be done by the senior management of the headquarters. Why did they have to make things difficult for them? This was probably the peak of this group of people's lives. Some people understood that this was an opportunity to prove their worth. As long as they could make outstanding contributions to this matter, then next year, they might be promoted to a senior management of Sky Entertainment. People who couldn't get promoted always liked to complain. They complained that they didn't get the opportunity, that they weren't valued. They didn't know that opportunities were slipping away in front of their eyes again and again. No boss would raise a senior manager for no reason. If a senior manager couldn't take responsibility for anything, then what was the point of raising him? If he had a few mistresses, they could help him vent his lust whenever they wanted. But if he had to raise a mediocre higher-up? Look at him. The meeting finally ended. The mediocre people who were destined to be mediocre couldn't wait to prepare a meal. They invited each other, and even prepared to invite Su Yun. They thought that this way, they could get closer to the boss. Everyone ate and drank, and unknowingly, their relationship got closer. And those who were destined to be successful immediately began to contact capable people to help them with the meeting report. If they wanted to be valued by the boss, they had to start with the meeting report. Even elementary school students understood that if they wanted to be praised by the teacher, they had to write their homework neatly and beautifully. This simple truth was forgotten by most people when they grew up. Su Yun knew very well how many of them could really work for Sky Entertainment, and how many of them were just waiting to die. After all, Qingdao hadn't been established for long. Many of the middle-level leaders had been promoted quickly. They hadn't experienced the test of time. Whether or not they could take responsibility in the end depended on this meeting. After everyone left the meeting room, Su Yun's heart relaxed a little. Bai Xiaoye brought a cup of espresso and placed it in front of Su Yun. Cheer up. You're under a lot of pressure at work right now. If you want me to help you study the Pacific Ocean, then fine. First, make a technological movie that can beat Pacific Rim. Don't copy Atlantic Rim. Hua Xia's counterfeits are already embarrassing enough in the world. The movie industry can't lose face. Su Yun nodded and drank the coffee in front of him. Yeah. When it comes to all kinds of things, Hua Xia is related to counterfeits. Phones, cars, all kinds of technology are counterfeits. The movie industry can't give up on itself. I think I should do something. Well, what you can do is actually very simple. You just have to pay. Bai Xiaoye smiled and said, money makes the world go round. Let's hire a special production team from Hollywood first. We lack experience, and if we want to do it ourselves, we'll have to imitate it. It's inevitable that our products will be suspected of being counterfeits. You should form our own team and learn from others' ideas instead of copying others. Do you think what I said makes sense? I think it's a waste of your talent to let you manage the hotel. Su Yun nodded. Even the middle-level managers of these companies wouldn't have thought of this today. No, I think the hotel is more suitable for me. Bai Xiaoye quickly shook her head. I'll have a headache if I have too many things to do. I don't want to grow old so quickly. However, if you really don't have enough brains, I can't just stand by and watch my brother suffer. Brother, remember, don't forget anything. Your sister can help you. Su Yun nodded. Anything, Bai Xiaoye emphasized. Su Yun smiled. He knew what Bai Xiaoye meant. Bai Xiaoye was still reminding him not to look for Marty Franz Island in private. Chapter 1559. Perhaps many people didn't understand why Zhuo Langyue chose to let Lin Yonghe go. Because to some extent, Zhuo Langyue was definitely not a friendly person. She was definitely not a kind person. Facing a guy who had done such a despicable thing, she chose to forgive him. Was it really because Su Chen had given Lin Yonghe a chance? This was only one aspect. Because Zhuo Langyue had a big doubt in her heart. Although it was just a guess, she still couldn't do anything to Lin Yonghe. This problem was very complicated, so Zhuo Langyue chose to let him go. After all, Lin Yonghe would definitely not have any evil thoughts after knowing that she had taken care of Su Yun. Now, Lin Yonghe had left Zither Island, but he didn't feel lucky at all. Instead, he felt heavier. His mind was full of Zhuo Langyue's words. If he had spent more than 20 years to find his son, perhaps he would have enjoyed the happiness of a family reunion by now. A man stood upright at 30, no doubts at 40, and knew his destiny at 50. Lin Yonghe had already passed the age of knowing his destiny. For him now, the most important thing was to know where the foundation of his Lin family was. All his hatred disappeared. He only wanted to know his son's situation. After more than 20 years, he had even forgotten what his son looked like when he was only a few months old. He also didn't remember his son's birthday. He only knew that everything had happened too long ago. Even if he sacrificed his life, he couldn't make up for the grave mistake he had made. Now he only wanted to find his son. As for whether he would be forgiven or not, it didn't matter. What mattered was that he would do everything he could to make up for his son, for the mistakes he had made these years, and for the things he hadn't made up for in time. If all his possessions could be exchanged for the title of Dad, he would die on the spot. Lin Yonghe didn't want to make mistakes again. Although it was too late to make up for it now, he still decided to do it. If he persisted in making mistakes, he would have no chance at all. As long as he started now, even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, it would be a motivation for him. Lin Yonghe didn't need anything but this motivation. Only with this motivation could he continue to live, have a hope and thought of living. But now, after more than 20 years, he had no clue at all. How could he find his son? But at this time, he met an old friend. The world was so big, but it seemed so small in certain coincidences. After Lin Yonghe left Qingdao, he found a bar and got drunk. He tried to use alcohol to erode everything and make himself forget everything. Otherwise, he really couldn't make himself fall asleep. He was too tired, too tired. His dream of revenge that had lasted for more than 20 years was suddenly interrupted and instantly turned into a nightmare for him to atone for his sins. How many 20s can a person have in his lifetime? Lin Yonghe didn't dare to think about it. Sigh, finding someone was easier said than done. Cup after cup of strong liquor was poured into Lin Yonghe's throat. It was like a sharp dagger cutting through Lin Yonghe's body and deeply stabbing into his heart. People were always like this. They clearly knew that drinking to drown their sorrows would make them even more sorrowful, but they still recklessly drank one cup after another. It's boring to drink alone. Suddenly, a voice interrupted Lin Yonghe's thoughts. Since you're treating, I can consider drinking with you. Lin Yonghe didn't even turn his head and sneered. Young people nowadays really don't learn well. If you don't have money, don't come out to the nightclub. Even if I have money, I'd rather treat young and beautiful girls to drink. I won't waste it on you. Don't waste your time. Get lost. I say, Lin Yonghe, your temper has grown after so many years? Lin Yonghe's whole body shook. He had been hiding his head and tail for so many years, but someone could still recognize him? Who was it? Lin Yonghe turned around in a panic and saw a face that she wasn't familiar with, but she quickly remembered. I shouldn't be considered a young person, right? Xian Yuanji had an unfathomable smile on his face and said lightly, I didn't expect to see you here. The world is really too small. Lin Yonghe really didn't dare to believe his eyes. When he committed that crime, Xian Yuanji also helped Su Chen to find trouble for him. How could it be you? You, how could you be here? I should be the one asking you this question. Xian Yuanji took Lin Yonghe's wine and poured himself a cup. As the wine sword immortal, of course, he couldn't lack wine. He liked all kinds of wine. It seems that my bet back then was right. I said that Su Chen would give you a way out for the sake of a baby. After all, you committed such a big crime, and it has a fatal relationship with the supervisors above. While speaking, Xian Yuanji had already drunk the wine in the cup and shook his head. You really don't know how to drink. This wine is so fake, and you still can't tell? Why are you here? Because of the appearance of Zhuo Langyue, Lin Yonghe was now in a state of panic. How could he not be nervous when a big shot suddenly appeared? It should be known that although Xian Yuanji's strength wasn't much higher than his, it was definitely not below him. Moreover, everyone knew that once this guy drank some wine, his strength couldn't be estimated normally. I traveled all over the country and have been in this city for 2 days. Xian Yuanji said. Do you think I deliberately followed you? TSK, if I have the time, I might as well find a quiet place to drink. Lin Yonghe was still doubtful. Didn't the Empress send you to kill me? Yo. Xian Yuanji played with the wine cup in his hand while looking at Lin Yonghe. It seems that you are in trouble. How did you provoke that woman? Hee, I don't believe that if you provoked her, would you still be sitting here drinking wine alive? You must be kidding. You really aren't sent by her. Lin Yonghe heaved a sigh of relief. Then why are you looking for me? Let me emphasize again, I don't have the time to look for you. Xian Yuanji said. If you don't believe me, then just pretend that I didn't happen to see you today. Damn. You are really wishy-washy, bye-bye. Xian Yuanji finished speaking and stood up to leave. This city was too ridiculous. When he came here yesterday, he couldn't sleep at night, so he went to a large chain bar. There was something wrong with the wine inside. Today, he saw that this bar wasn't small, but he didn't expect that there was something wrong with the wine inside. Don't go. Although Lin Yonghe and Xian Yuanji weren't familiar with each other, to be able to meet someone who called his name, he really felt lucky. If you want to drink real wine, then stay. Xian Yuanji was startled. I thought that you couldn't drink real wine in the bar. You can't drink outside. Get a room with the lowest cost, then they won't dare to use fake wine to fool around. Lin Yonghe finished speaking and waved his hand at the waiter. After a few words, the waiter immediately brought the two of them to a private room. If you want to drink without worry, then the cost has to be increased. The seats in the hall cost at least a few hundred yuan. How could they serve real wine? If they served real wine, then the bar wouldn't make a fart. One must know that the bar's annual expenses weren't small. Not to mention the maintenance and costs of the equipment, every year they had to find a group of outside girls to act as support at night. Where there were no women, there would definitely be no men. Without men, how could they sell wine? Right now, the malicious competition in the bar was too serious. Who didn't spend money to hire a few outside girls with long legs and perky butts, then they definitely wouldn't be popular. What a nightclub needed was the atmosphere. The more popular a nightclub was, the more popularity it could attract. Popularity was the key, and wine didn't matter. Unless it was those rich second generations who had the ability to book the entire place or spend hundreds of thousands every night without trembling, ordinary individuals simply couldn't drink real wine. What? You said you bought it online? 298 yuan for a Chivas 21 set meal for 6 people? Sorry, the thing you drank was definitely fake. I really don't know if it was mixed with urine. Chapter 1560. After the two of them went to a private room, their ears became a lot quieter. Without the noisy music and the excited voices of the young men and women, the atmosphere of the bar was also a lot better. But the private room was naturally better than the service outside. When the two of them just entered the room, the waiter just delivered the drinks that Lin Yonghe ordered, and a few girls with long legs and perky buttocks came in. Yo, are the two bosses waiting for someone? Or are you in the mood to drink alone? Do you want us sisters to help the two bosses pour the drinks? This girl was obviously the bar's bartender. With just a few words, the single male customers lost their sense of direction. For people like them, drinking a bottle of high-end wine in 10 minutes was not a problem at all. If they fell into their trap, drinking tens of thousands of yuan in one night was simply easy. Every bottle they drank had a commission. Otherwise, how could the girls use their own bodies to fight? Not only did they feel uncomfortable drinking and vomit for a night, but they also had to endure the touching of the customers with dirty hands and feet. This job was really not easy. You can pour the drinks, after pouring, close the door and leave. Lin Yonghe was not in the mood to do these messy things right now. His mind was in a mess. Of course, he had something to ask of Xian Yuanji. Otherwise, how could he have the time to invite an unfamiliar old friend to drink? Xian Yuanji did not care. It's not easy for a girl to earn a little money. Looking at your clothes now, you can be considered a successful person. You can't be unwilling to even spend this little money, right? Armani shirt, Hermes belt, TSK, Vacheron Constantine watch. Boss Lin, you are not the kind of person who likes to wear fake goods to pretend to be an egg. Lin Yonghe didn't care about the money spent to find two girls to accompany him, but he just wanted a quiet place. However, since Xian Yuanji liked this, he was immediately satisfied. You guys come over and sit down. Accompany this boss well. Everything else can be discussed. Boss, we sisters know that you two are elegant gentlemen. We girls have already entered your door. How can you have the nerve to ask us to leave? The leader of the group of girls had a sweet mouth. She even pretended to be coquettish as she joked, "We'll just say that if the two bosses accidentally enter our door, we'll be too embarrassed to ask the two bosses to leave." The door in his words was not as simple as a door. Perhaps he was referring to the back door. It was a pity that Lin Yonghe didn't have the mood to flirt. For the past 20 years, he hadn't had the mood to flirt, because his heart was focused on revenge. Now, he didn't have the mood to do that. His heart was on the matter of finding someone. Boss Lin, that's not what I meant. Xian Yuanji saw that the group of girls were so fierce and quickly stopped them. You know that I like to drink alone and don't want to be disturbed. How about this, since they are here, don't let them leave empty-handed. How about giving them a tip? Lin Yonghe was too lazy to waste time. She took out a small stack of money from her wallet and said, "You can divide it among yourselves. Hurry up and go wherever you want. Don't bother us again." Of course, anything could be negotiated with money. These girls were originally here for money. Otherwise, who would want to flirt in front of the two uncles? The room finally quieted down, and Lin Yonghe's mood finally calmed down. Xian Yuanji tasted the wine scent in this time. It was indeed different from the wine outside. This was cold wine. The wine outside was just alcohol mixed with water and added a little color. The two didn't have much to talk about. After a few rounds of toasting, Lin Yonghe finally couldn't help but say, "You said that Su Chen let me go because of a baby. That baby, is it, It's your baby." Xian Yuanji nodded and said, "Otherwise, do you think you can still sit in this box and drink with me now?" Lin Yonghe held the wine glass and fell silent. "However, I really want to know how you provoked Zuolang Yue." Xian Yuanji smiled slightly and drank the wine in the glass. "Does this matter have anything to do with Su Chen? Or is it that you actually went to provoke that brat without knowing the difference between life and death? You know who the guy I'm talking about is. Su Yun." Lin Yonghe felt as if something was stuck in his throat. He didn't know where to start. He poured himself a full glass of wine, and like Xian Yuanji, he downed it in one gulp. Those 6 catty brothers and 8 catty brothers online were nothing in front of them. Xian Yuanji knew that he guessed right. Since you're still alive now, it means that Su Yun is fine. You're lucky. If you really did something to that guy, not only Zuolang Yue won't let you go, there are too many people who won't let you go. In other words, Xian Yuanji was one of them. If Lin Yonghe did something to Su Yun, Xian Yuanji wouldn't let Lin Yonghe walk out of this room standing. Lin Yonghe didn't have the courage to admit that he told Su Yun about Marty Franz Island. Who knew if Xian Yuanji would take it seriously after knowing it? "Can I ask you a question?" Lin Yonghe quickly tried to change the topic. Xian Yuanji's character was unruly, so he didn't take Lin Yonghe's failed revenge seriously. "Say it. You can't bear to take others' kindness. I've drunk so much wine from you. If I can't even answer your small question, wouldn't it be too disloyal? Then I really have to thank you." Lin Yonghe said, "Since you mentioned the baby, do you know where he is?" "Oh. After more than 20 years, you finally figured it out? You want to come back to find your own flesh and blood?" Xian Yuanji smiled lazily. He continued to drink and said, "You can still be enlightened in the end. I thought you would be like this for the rest of your life. Lin Yonghe, you can figure things out. Although it's a little late, there's still a chance to make up for it." Lin Yonghe stared at Xian Yuanji with his eyes wide open. "So, you know where the child is?" "Of course I don't know." Xian Yuanji said, "Su Chen didn't give the child to me." Lin Yonghe was disappointed. "So, the child has always been in his hands," Xian Yuanji added again, "but I have a brain. Please use your brain." Su Chen even handed his own son to Zhang Taisui. "How can he have the time to take care of your child?" Zhang Taisui sent Su Yun to the Dragon Brigade. "We all know about this. You've been seeking revenge for more than 20 years. It's impossible that you don't know." Lin Yonghe began to realize that there was a turning point. "You mean, my son may also be in the Dragon Brigade? I can't give you any definite words about this." Xian Yuanji said, "But, if you're not stupid, then you should know who to ask about this." "Wang Yi." Lin Yonghe suddenly realized and said with a serious face. Xian Yuanji nodded. "At least you have some brains. But, if you go to Wang Yi about this, don't tell him that it has something to do with me. Otherwise, he'll blame me for bringing trouble to him. Whether you can find Wang Yi is still a problem. Yanjing is so big, and he's also a leader of a national secret organization. You'll have to put in some effort. I thank you for this glass of wine. Lin Yonghe was like a lonely boat at sea who suddenly saw the light of a lighthouse. His gratitude to Xian Yuanji was definitely not something that could be expressed clearly with words. Whether I can find him or not, I'm grateful for everything you told me today. Xian Yuanji shook his head lightly. There are conditions. I told you everything, but you can't provoke that kid in the future. Especially, you can't let that kid know that his father is in prison on Mardi Fran Island. Hearing Xian Yuanji's words, Lin Yonghe lowered his head guiltily. He finally mustered up the courage to admit. This, he already knows. Xian Yuanji's original mood to drink instantly disappeared. He could only squeeze out a few words between his teeth. You old bastard, you're really sinister. Fine, you're ruthless. Before I regret it, you better get as far away as possible. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Lin Yonghe finished speaking and got up to leave. He knew that Xian Yuanji wasn't joking. It wasn't that Lin Yonghe was afraid of dying, but he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to see his child before he died. Chapter 1561. In any case, Lin Yonghe got a very useful clue from Xian Yuanji. He had to go to Yanjing. It was not difficult to find Wang Yi. As long as he made some noise in Yanjing, Wang Yi would definitely take the initiative to find him. Lin Yonghe had seen the skills of the Dragon Fury team members as early as 20 years ago, so he knew clearly what kind of people he should meet. Lin Yonghe drank too much, so he could only pay a high price to hire a designated driver to send him to Yanjing overnight. Although the excessive alcohol made him groggy, he could not make himself fall asleep anyway. His mind was full of the scene of seeing Wang Yi and finding his son. Everything seemed so close, but the moment his mood surged, it became so far away. The drinks Lin Yonghe ordered were enough for Xian Yuanji to drink in the bar all night. Like Lin Yonghe, Xian Yuanji knew that he also had something to do. Although he had only met Su Yun once and called him brother by mistake, he knew clearly about Su Yun's temperament. This guy was just like his father, Su Chen. No one could stop him from doing what he wanted to do. No matter if it was a mountain of knives or a sea of flames, as long as he believed that he should do it, and if it was right after he did it, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Even 100 ox heads could not pull him back. Now, Xian Yuanji knew clearly what Su Yun wanted to do. He drank so much but still could not think of a way to stop and persuade Su Yun. This is really troublesome, haha. Xian Yuanji drank and smiled bitterly in his heart. He really did not expect Lin Yonghe to make such a big trouble. What made him more confused was that Lin Yonghe had made such a big mistake, but Zhuo Langyue could still let him leave. She was really a woman that he could not understand. Xian Yuanji raised his glass. He knew that many things looked like a glass of strong liquor in this glass. It looked beautiful and sparkling, tasted spicy and pungent, but after it passed through the throat, it could bring comfort to the spirit and soul. Perhaps only a wine lover like him could understand that kind of comfort. Xian Yuanji drank cup after cup of the crystal-clear spicy liquid. He was very clear that he was addicted to alcohol, but the number of adults in the world who hadn't touched a single drop of alcohol in their lifetime was probably less than 5%. Furthermore, these 5% were definitely people from poor areas who couldn't even afford to eat. How could they have the mood to drink? There was a reason why Xian Yuanji was addicted to alcohol. Worry, depression, loneliness, nervousness, anxiety, sadness, depression, and other negative emotions were all important reasons for his addiction. Although Xian Yuanji's condition could not be seen on the surface, who knew what was going on in his heart? At least people could see his loneliness. He had always been alone. No matter where he went, he was always alone. He was a celibate. When the dream he pursued was completely shattered, he became like this. As for what he pursued, no one knew. This was a martial arts addict with alcohol addiction. The more he drank, the more terrifying his strength was. No one knew the reason for this. Those who knew him only knew that Xian Yuanji, who had drunk alcohol, could not be provoked. Once provoked, it would bring a lot of trouble to oneself. Boss, why are you drinking alone? Where's the boss just now? The women with big breasts and big buttocks once again appeared in Xian Yuanji's private room. Facing the generous boss, they were like cats who smelled blood. How could they easily choose to leave? Isn't it good to drink alone? Xian Yuanji sneered. What, the tip he gave you just now was not enough? He, boss, don't look at us so lowly, okay? One of the women said while sticking close to Xian Yuanji. We admire mature men like you. Mature men have taste. We like you. Xian Yuanji laughed. So, even if I'm a poor man, you won't dislike me? You'll even buy wine to drink with me? Of course. A few of the women were secretly happy. Another rich man took the bait. Okay, let's not talk about other things. These wines are almost finished. Xian Yuanji said. If you want to treat me, I don't mind continuing to drink. Okay, of course. They didn't know that Xian Yuanji wasn't joking. In the eyes of these women, they had never seen a man let a woman pay the bill. They believed that they could order as much as they wanted and drink as much as they wanted. In the end, the boss would still pay the bill. Xian Yuanji didn't know how many kinds of wine he had drunk. In the end, he was completely excited. These women who had been drinking for a long time were really shocked. They were all drunk to death, but the boss was still fine. He was really a wine god. Wine sword immortal. Wine sword immortal. If one didn't have a little alcohol tolerance, who would dare to bear this title? Xian Yuanji finally drank to his heart's content. He picked up his clothes and got up. Thank you for the hospitality. You can continue. I'll leave first. Leave? This guy was really going to leave without paying the bill? Of course, there was no way. The staff who had been waiting at the door strode in. Boss, please pay the bill. I'll pay the bill. Xian Yuanji was stunned. He turned around and pointed at the women. Look, these ladies said that they would treat me to wine. My friend has already paid for the wine before. The rest will be on their heads. You can ask them for it. Boss, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to drink a tyrant? The young man holding the bill frowned. I've been doing this for so many years. I've never heard of anyone who let a woman pay the bill. Don't try to cheat. 210,000. If you don't pay the bill, don't think about leaving. 210,000? Xian Yuanji was stunned. He immediately understood that he was tricked by the waiter. Little brother, if you really want it, I can still take out $21. 210,000, you can find whoever you want. Aya, you're a tortoise eating a scale. You're determined to play this game with us. The young man suddenly glared. Brothers, get your weapons. Who wants to go back on their words? With this call, it was obvious that the men who had been prepared long ago rushed in from outside. 4 rich men with foreign accents, they would kill as many as they could. This was the rule of their bar. Therefore, they would definitely not let the man in front of them go easily. The young man looked at his men proudly and said to Xian Yuanji again. Boss, you have to think clearly. What do you want to do with this? I'll give you face. With my authority, I'll give you a 0. 200,000. Not a cent less. 20. Xian Yuanji took out a piece of change from his pocket. Tip, keep the change. After you get off work, take this money and treat your brothers to spicy strips or something. Brothers, you've worked hard. Beat. The young man gritted his teeth and squeezed out a word from between his lips. 3 to 5 minutes later, Xian Yuanji walked out of the private room with his body swaying as light as a feather. The room was in a complete mess, and those girls who drank too much were already sober from fright. 15 strong fighters. Normally, they could fight 1 against 3, but today, they were all knocked down by a drunkard. Xian Yuanji waved his hand as he walked. Advise your bar owner to get some real alcohol in the future. If one day someone dies from drinking, it won't be as simple as losing money. You have to pay attention to a conscience when doing business. Also, the ladies who accompany you shouldn't ruin their bodies like this. You only see how much you earn from drinking, but you don't know how much your bodies have been ruined? It'll be too late to regret when you can't have children." This drunken man swayed and walked out of the bar casually. No one dared to stop him. The bar owner, who had witnessed how he beat 15 people by himself, admitted defeat. Today's matter, he had tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing a handful of rice. Chapter 1562. After Xian Yuanji left the bar, he regretted it a little. He should have asked Lin Yonghe, that old bastard, to send him to Guqin Island. Now he was still 300 or 400 kilometers away from Guqin Island. What should he do? He really didn't have any money in his pocket. After so many years of traveling, Xian Yuanji was still a pauper. If there was nothing important, he could walk to Guqin Island on foot. He could spend 2 or 3 days slowly enjoying the scenery along the way. But now he wanted to see Su Yun a minute earlier and see what was going on with him. Xian Yuanji didn't see eye to eye with Su Yun back then because Su Chen's momentum was too oppressive. When he stood in front of Su Chen, he felt especially pressured. But Su Yun was different. Xian Yuanji just felt that Su Yun was more easygoing and unruly. He was more suitable for Xian Yuanji to make friends with. So he was quite different from others. He didn't do it for Su Yun. Last time he helped Su Yun was because of Zhang Taisui. This time he helped Su Yun because Xian Yuanji helped Su Yun for Su Chen. For his brother, he couldn't just watch Su Yun walk on a path of no return. No matter what he said, Marty Franz Island was definitely a forbidden area. Xian Yuanji was very insistent on this. Su Yun was a stubborn person. He had his own thoughts and judgment. This was a good thing for him, but sometimes it wasn't a good thing. This kind of stubbornness would make him insist on completing a beautiful thing, but it would also make him helplessly fall into a painful struggle. Xian Yuanji left the bar unhurriedly. But in the bar owner's eyes never left him. Finally, the bar owner couldn't hold back and waved to the man beside him. "Go, stop this expert for me. Just say that I have an invitation. This person is definitely not simple. As long as I can get his help, I can destroy that bastard from the sunken bar." "Boss, this person just directly gave our brothers," the underling beside the bar owner said with a look of surprise. He didn't want to go up and be kicked back by this person. Clearly, the other party was not someone to be trifled with. What if he was still angry? If she vented her anger on him, who could he cry to? "If I tell you to go, then go. There's no need to talk so much nonsense." The bar owner gave his underling a kick. The man had no choice but to speed up and run behind Xian Yuanji. Xian Yuanji didn't turn around when he heard the footsteps. He wasn't in the mood to argue with the people of this small bar. Hi, master, our boss wants to see you." When this guy was nervous, he stuttered. He was afraid and panicked. He was afraid that the other party would turn around and slap him. If that happened, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. "Go play wherever you want. I'm not in the mood to talk nonsense with you." Xian Yuanji said indifferently, "Let me emphasize, I don't have the money to compensate." No, absolutely not. Our boss will never let you lose money. He just wants to invite you. He feels that you are very awesome. You are an expert. He wants to invite you to sit down and pay his respects to you. This guy really knew how to talk. Xian Yuanji smiled slightly. "Do you have something to ask of me?" But at this time, if someone wanted him to help with something, it couldn't be better. It just so happened that they had a supply and demand relationship. If someone wanted him to help with something, then of course he had to help him do something. "No. As expected of an expert." "Okay. You can ask me to do something, but there are conditions." Xian Yuanji knew that someone could send him to Qingdao. Please. Expert, please come with me." Hearing that the other party agreed, the underling was relieved. If he didn't invite the person that the boss wanted to invite back, he would definitely be scolded again. Xian Yuanji was brought to the bar owner's office. The bar owner had already prepared a bottle of good quality Scotch whiskey and was waiting for Xian Yuanji's arrival. When the door of the room was pushed open, the bar owner who saw Xian Yuanji immediately stood up to welcome him. I said that my small place is honored today. It turns out that there is an expert like you. Please sit. If you don't mind, let's have a drink. This can be. Xian Yuanji didn't care about trifles. He went forward and picked up the glass and drank it in one gulp. I am a straightforward person. I don't like to beat around the bush. I know that you must have something to ask of me. But I have a condition. If you ask me to do something, I can do it. Then after I am done, you have to arrange a car to send me to Qingdao overnight. If you think it is suitable, we can make a deal. If not, I will leave now. Suitable. Of course it is suitable. This is too suitable. The bar owner didn't expect the other party to be so straightforward. Xian Yuanji frowned. Of course, I am a person with principles. If you want me to do something like murder or arson, then I am sorry, you have found the wrong person. Do you understand? I understand. I am also a law-abiding person. The bar owner quickly said. Law-abiding? Today, the person who beat you and smashed your room is a lesson to you. Don't sell fake wine in the future. Xian Yuanji sneered. Master, I will remember this lesson. I feel that I should be taught a lesson like this. The bar owner said, I have a friend, like me, who also sells fake wine. I think that you should educate him like how you educate me. If you help me educate him, I will send you to Qingdao. Do you think this is appropriate? Xian Yuanji understood and nodded. No wonder they say that people of the same trade are enemies. All right, since I am selling fake wine, I don't have any psychological burden. I will do as you say. Get someone to send me there. When I am done, send me directly to Qingdao. No problem. The bar owner was very happy that he was able to settle a matter so quickly. He was certain that his communication skills had increased by 10 points. He didn't know that Xian Yuanji was in a hurry to go to Qingdao. Otherwise, who would have the time to care about his nonsense? The bar owner arranged for his subordinates to send Xian Yuanji to the sunken bar. Xian Yuanji didn't disappoint. Within 10 minutes, he caused a huge mess in the bar. More than 20 thugs were knocked down. Xian Yuanji directly ordered an entire bottle of fake wine and forced it into the stomach of the sunken bar's owner. He told him that he couldn't blame anyone but himself for drinking this shit. After that, Xian Yuanji directly went on the highway back to Qingdao. At this speed, he would be able to reach Qingdao by tonight. Of course, it was already late. Even if Xian Yuanji went there, he would have to wait until tomorrow morning to go to Sky Entertainment to find Su Yun. The bar owner also gave Xian Yuanji another 10,000 yuan for his hard work. It was enough for him to stay in a hotel or something after arriving at Qingdao. Everyone took what they needed. The bar owner was very satisfied with what this expert had done. At least he could make his competitors clean up for a month. In this month, he would be able to establish a considerable advantage in the industry. At least the matter of him selling fake wine wasn't publicized. If he started to provide real wine now, it wouldn't be noticed by consumers. However, his competitors were notorious. In the future, even if he provided real wine, there would be some people who wouldn't dare to drink it. Of course, this matter still needed his help to hype it up. He wanted to let the locals know that the sunken bar had been smashed by someone for selling fake wine. Xian Yuanji was too lazy to pay attention to their malicious thoughts. He knew that these people couldn't do it. Dishonest businessmen would eventually die because of this. A truly successful businessman would always understand what he was doing and always understand what he should do. Chapter 1563. Xian Yuanji used the shortest amount of time to arrive at Qingdao. However, at this time, everyone was probably asleep. He had drunk a lot, and after a few hours of bumpy ride, Xian Yuanji didn't think too much about it. He went straight to the movie hotel. This was a property under Sky Entertainment. He spent the 10,000 yuan he just earned on Sky Entertainment. After arriving at the movie hotel, Shen Yuanji directly asked the person who sent him here to go back. Seeing that this guy drove 300 or 400 kilometers in the middle of the night to send him off, Shen Yuanji generously gave him 1,000 yuan service fee. Anyway, the wool was pulled from the sheep, so throwing it away didn't hurt. Shen Yuanji rarely experienced this kind of rich life. Most of the time, he would sleep in the wild. After all, as a ranger, he had long been used to the life of the sky and the earth as his bed. Staying in a hotel was something that only rich people did. Shen Yuanji couldn't afford to live in a hotel. Of course, Shen Yuanji also needed to live. Living required money. Clothes and food were needed. Even if he often slept in the wild, he still needed to take a bath. Occasionally, he still needed to spend money. As long as people lived in this world, they couldn't live without money. It could even be said that people's life was for money. No matter how strong a person's integrity was, would they dare to say that they didn't do things for money? If they didn't make money, wouldn't they starve to death? Of course, that's why it was said to be secular, 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 secular. Shen Yuanji also knew how to make money. It was easy for him to make money. Just like today, if it was a normal day, the people who asked him to settle things were not as simple as a small bar owner. Those big bosses like to say to others, "How much do you want? Fill in the number yourself." Generally, when this kind of money was pushed in front of Shen Yuanji would write at least 7 digits. Otherwise, it would really be a waste of these big bosses' hearts. Therefore, Shen Yuanji was definitely not someone who did not have the ability to earn money. The reason why he was in such a poor state every day was because the money he earned, other than buying new clothes, would be donated to the local Project Hope. Shen Yuanji was very clear about one thing. The future of the country was in the hands of the children. Children from rich families often didn't cherish the opportunity to go to school. The children in Project Hope cherished this opportunity as much as they cherished their lives. If 10,000 yuan was 1 centimeter thick, then the money donated by Shen Yuanji was at least as tall as a 7-story residential building. This was at least. Although he was a dissolute tourist, many people who saw him looked at him in their hearts, of course. Why did he choose to live such a lonely life? But they didn't know that he did many meaningful things in his life, compared to those self-righteous fellows of their own accord. Today was different. Shen Yuanji had money in his pocket again, and his back was straight. Shen Yuanji walked to the front desk and asked, "What's the best room here like?" "Presidential suite." Hearing the guest's words, the manager on duty immediately went up to greet them personally. Because the nature of the movie hotel was different, they might have to receive important guests from abroad every night. Therefore, there were managers on duty 24 hours a day. Bai Xiaoye had set up 5 managers in the hotel to take turns to ensure that they received all the important guests. Obviously, Shen Yuanji was a VIP. He directly asked for the presidential suite. "Hello, sir. Please follow me here." Since he was a VIP, he would definitely receive VIP service. He would swipe his card, register, and everything would be done in the room. Bai Xiaoye also set a more humane rule. VIPs who arrived at the hotel after 11 p.m. were not allowed to disturb the guest's rest. They only needed to register the guest's identity and let the guest rest. Everything would be settled after 8 a.m. the next day, including the room fee. Therefore, after Shen Yuanji was brought to the presidential suite, the guest left immediately after registering his identity. Shen Yuanji was still a little confused. Why didn't they want money? Did they know that he was their boss's brother? Forget it. He didn't care so much. He took a shower and went to sleep. When he opened his eyes, it was already 8 a.m. the next day. The phone in the guest room became his alarm clock. "Hello." Shen Yuanji yawned and picked up the phone. "Sir, did you rest well last night?" A sweet voice came from one of the 3 people who woke him up. Shen Yuanji nodded with satisfaction. "Not bad. It was pretty good." "Then I will arrange for the service staff to settle the bill in your room." Is it convenient for you now? It's convenient. Come on. Xian Yuanji knew that they would not forget to settle the bill. It was really good to stay in the hotel first and then settle the bill. It was better than some hospitals. However, when the service staff placed the bill in front of Xian Yuanji was stunned. The price was too high, wasn't it? He didn't know that he was staying in the hotel's highest level suite. The guest manager on duty yesterday brought him here because he saw the Vacheron Constantin double-sided astronomical watch on Xian Yuanji's wrist. The guest manager on duty last night was a watch enthusiast, so he could tell at a glance what was real and what was fake. The watch on Xian Yuanji's wrist had a diameter of 47 millimeters. It could directly appreciate the operation of the tourbillon. It was the essence of Vacheron Constantin's 250 years of watch manufacturing technology and design skills. This was the world's most outstanding complex function watch. It was impossible to be counterfeited. There were only 7 products of this watch in the world. The black dial of Xian Yuanji's watch was numbered number 1. It was made of 18K rose gold and had a dual-surface design. It had a unique twisting pattern on the dial, and it took over 10,000 hours to make. It was worth over 12 million renminbi. Therefore, the guest manager on duty firmly believed that Xian Yuanji was a VIP. However, the watch on the wrist of this VIP was from the hands of a boss. It was not his own. If Xian Yuanji knew that the watch was so valuable, he would have donated it. The problem was that he didn't know that he had 9,000 renminbi in his pocket. The most luxurious room cost tens of thousands of RMB for a night. I don't have that much money. Xian Yuanji was stunned for a moment. Can you call your boss over? Your boss and I are brothers. He is my brother. The service staff was speechless. He quickly called the guest manager who came to take over the morning shift. The guest manager didn't understand watches. Once he heard that this guy was staying in such a good room and said that he didn't have money, of course, he was unwilling. He had to send this to the police. I already said that your boss is my brother. Xian Yuanji knew that as long as Su Yun came, the misunderstanding would be resolved. Our boss is your brother? Let me tell you, our boss is a woman. Are you crazy? If you don't have money, why are you pretending to be rich? The guest manager on duty was very angry. He didn't understand why the guy on duty last night let such a person in. You better not explain any more. In his eyes, the boss was Bai Xiaoye. Therefore, he didn't believe Xian Yuanji when he said that the boss was his brother. Don't be so angry. Let's clarify this matter first. Otherwise, your boss will blame you later. Xian Yuanji was not surprised. If you don't believe me, call your boss over and let him see if he knows me. Won't this matter be settled? If he says that he doesn't know me, I won't have any objections even if you beat me to the police station. All right. That's what you said. The guest manager knew that he needed to inform the boss about this matter. He quickly dialed Bai Xiaoye's secretary's number and informed her of the matter. When he received a reply, he was relieved. After hanging up the phone, the guest manager pointed at Xian Yuanji fiercely. I'll wait. I'll see how you explain. Don't blame me for being impolite later. I've seen people eat and dash, but I've never seen someone sleep in an overlord's room. You're really a weirdo. Xian Yuanji didn't care about what the guest said. He waited for Su Yun to appear. Chapter 1564. Bai Xiaoye didn't know that she had a big brother in the society. When she heard someone shouting and talking nonsense, she naturally wouldn't ignore it. Although the movie hotel didn't care about the accommodation fee for one night, if this matter was spread out, it would be inevitable that everyone would pretend to be rich and try the presidential suite. Who are you? Do you know where this is? Nonsense. Nonsense. Bai Xiaoye came to the scene and scolded angrily because she had no impression of this slovenly man. How can you do such a brainless thing? Are you too free? Xian Yuanji was also confused. The person who came wasn't Su Yun, but a girl. This girl looked so familiar that Xian Yuanji even suspected that his eyes were playing tricks on him. Xian Yuanji saw through the familiar facial features at a glance. She was too similar to Su Chen. Even if she was a girl, they were too similar. That kind of resemblance was definitely not as simple as the surface. In addition, her expression, tone, and manner of speech were exactly the same as Zhua Lingyue's. Xian Yuanji only took a glance and suddenly realized who this girl was. He was completely sure of his judgment. If she wasn't, he would have no problem cutting off his head. What are you looking at? Do you not want your eyeballs anymore? Seeing Xian Yuanji staring at Bai Xiaoye without any courtesy, the manager on duty was furious. General Manager Bai, leave this matter to me. I will definitely make this guy unable to leave standing. Hearing the manager on duty's boastful words, Xian Yuanji smiled disdainfully and came back to his senses. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to not let me leave standing. Don't be a clown here. I have something to say to your boss. You'd better leave first. The manager on duty glared at him. I find that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Do you know what I did in the past? I came from the army and was a scout. After saying that, the manager on duty directly attacked. It looked like he was in a fighting stance. Unfortunately, his opponent was Xian Yuanji, a real expert above the third level of the profound world realm. Not to mention that the manager on duty only practiced a little sonda and wasn't a real scout. Even if a real scout came, he wouldn't be Xian Yuanji's opponent. One move, just one move. Most people didn't even see how Xian Yuanji made his move. The manager on duty fell to the ground like a wild goose. He was confused as to how he was thrown out by the person in front of him. Only then did Bai Xiaoye realize that the other party was an expert whose aura she couldn't detect at all. With Bai Xiaoye's strength, she couldn't detect Su Yun's aura. This meant that this slovenly-looking man was actually an expert like Su Yun or even stronger than Su Yun. Who the hell are you? Bai Xiaoye didn't dare to underestimate this man. If he wanted to harm her, she believed that she wouldn't be able to resist. Recently, Fan Bing's assassination attempt happened to Su Yun. Therefore, it was hard for Bai Xiaoye not to worry about this person who was much stronger than her. Xian Yuanji knew that Bai Xiaoye already knew that he wasn't an ordinary person. He smiled and said, "You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. Little girl, what's the relationship between you and Zhua Langyue?" Bai Xiaoye became nervous. The air in the room began to freeze. In this small room, if this mysterious guy in front of her made a move, Bai Xiaoye wouldn't even have a chance to escape. She knew very well that she was definitely not this person's opponent. Don't be so nervous. I don't have any bad intentions. Xian Yuanji said indifferently. Also, I don't dare to do anything to you based on your relationship with Zhua Langyue. I don't have the courage to provoke her daughter. Xian Yuanji raised his hands to show that he didn't have any bad intentions. Only then did Bai Xiaoye let out a sigh of relief. However, who was this person who knew about Zhua Langyue's relationship with her? Then who are you? Why do you know all this? Since her identity had been guessed, Bai Xiaoye didn't have to deny it. Why did you come here to find me? Xian Yuanji shook his head helplessly. I didn't come here to find you. I really didn't know you were here. I came here to find Su Yun. Who knew that he would bring you here? After speaking, Xian Yuanji glanced at the manager on duty who was grieving with a face full of fear. Seeing Xian Yuanji's gaze, the manager on duty was so scared that his whole body trembled. He cursed himself in his heart for being so unlucky to meet such a jinx. You're looking for my brother? Bai Xiaoye couldn't help but become nervous again. Xian Yuanji couldn't help but laugh. It seems that you already know about your relationship with Su Yun. That's right, I'm looking for your brother. Of course, you don't have to worry. Your brother and I are brothers. We've been through life and death together. Bai Xiaoye was shocked. This man was obviously a senior of the previous generation in the underground society. He was actually brothers with Su Yun? Wasn't this messing up the seniority? You must take me to see Su Yun. I have something very important to stop him. Xian Yuanji had a headache. It was easier said than done. At least, he didn't have enough reason to persuade Su Yun. Bai Xiaoye immediately became spirited. She looked at Xian Yuanji with a serious expression. What do you want to stop him from doing? Xian Yuanji saw Bai Xiaoye's probing expression and realized that she must know about this matter. You must know that Lin Yonghe was killed by your mother, right? If you know who Lin Yonghe is, then you should know what to stop Su Yun from doing. Bai Xiaoye immediately became excited. You're also here to persuade my brother not to go to Mardi Fran Island, right? Xian Yuanji was stunned. So, we have a common goal? Of course. I really need your help. Bai Xiaoye even changed the way she addressed Xian Yuanji. I don't have enough means to persuade my brother alone. I've already tried to talk to him about this problem. Although he didn't argue with me verbally, I can feel that he still believes in his actions. Xian Yuanji smiled. There's no other way. This is Su Yun. You're his sister. You should know his stubbornness better than I do. That's why I came here. I was worried that this kid wouldn't listen to others' advice. However, the situation now is much better than I thought. At least he still has you as his sister to sound the alarm. But I really don't know how much of an effect my words have. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. Senior, if you can help me persuade my brother, I'll really thank you. I'm sorry, I still don't know how to address you. My surname is Xian Yuan, and my first name is Ji. Xian Yuanji smiled. If you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother. After thinking for a while, Xian Yuanji changed his words. No, if you call me Big Brother, your mother will be taking advantage of you. It's better not. Bai Xiaoye couldn't call a senior brother. Senior Xian Yuanji, then I'll leave my brother's matter to you. I'll bring you to him now. He doesn't usually care about the film studio and hotel. Xian Yuanji was stunned. Yes, he's busy at the film studio. Bai Xiaoye said, let's go now. It's just opposite. It's very close. Xian Yuanji was about to leave with Bai Xiaoye when he remembered something. Wait. I have to explain to this manager first. I definitely won't pay because I know your boss. I really didn't dare to think that the suite costs tens of thousands a night. I only have 9,000 yuan on me. I'll give it all to you so that people won't say that I'm thick-skinned behind my back. The manager on duty didn't dare to accept it. Even Manager Bai was so respectful to him. No. Senior, it's my fault for not recognizing you. Please don't take offense. Okay, you can go back to your work. Bai Xiaoye sent the manager on duty away and said to Xian Yuanji, Senior Xian Yuanji, this is really a misunderstanding. It's my fault that I didn't arrange it for you personally. Please don't be angry. Your personality is really good. Ha 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 ha. Xian Yuanji laughed heartily. Chapter 1565. Ever since the last seminar, Su Yun really put the matter of Mardi Fran's Island aside for the time being. The matter was set in stone, but it was impossible for Su Yun to find clues in a short period of time. He could only be patient and plan for the long term. On the other hand, the transition to a technology-based movie production was imminent. Take last year for example. Except for a Huaxia box office movie that was in the top 5, the rest of the movies were all movies that focused on technological production. Transformers 4, Journey to the West, Uproar in Heaven, X-Men Reversing the Future, Captain America 2, Rise of the Planet of the Apes 2. They were all movies of this type. This showed that the demand of the domestic cinema market was undergoing a particularly subtle change. This change, to put it bluntly, was not about how people's standards of appreciation had begun to change, but a question of whether the movie ticket was worth it. Regarding the issue of copyright, this should be the thing that Huaxia people disrespected the most. In a society where piracy was rampant, the regulation in this area was too lax. When most people still listened to music on their Walkman when they were young, pirated tapes appeared. In the 1990s, high-tech CD players appeared, and then pirated discs were everywhere. After a century, these things began to be eliminated. Pirates began to pirate novels and comics on the internet. If these pirated movies did not cause much loss to the copyright owners, then pirated movies were definitely a huge failure of Hua Xia's copyright law. Why couldn't the box office of non-technological movies go up? Unless there was a super box office king or a super director who made people think that it was a well-shot movie or a super easy and funny movie that could earn some money at the box office. Other than that, even if it was an A-list celebrity, it would still not be able to catch up with the box office numbers of technological movies. How many famous directors' movies could not recover their investment at the box office? It was not because the movie was not well shot, nor was it because the director was not good enough. The reason was very simple. This kind of movie did not have any special effects. You could watch it at home by finding a pirate website and downloading it to your computer. Smart TVs had cloud systems, and by connecting it wirelessly to your computer, you could directly watch the movie on your 60-inch HD 4K TV at home. The main reason for going to the cinema to watch technological movies was that the special effects of these movies could only be felt in the cinema. Watching a 3D movie alone at home with a 3D pair of glasses? If your eyesight wasn't bad for 5 minutes, I would have suspected that there was something wrong with your eyes. Su Yun knew very well that this was the fatal advantage of a high-tech movie. People wanted to enjoy visual effects because of the progress of mankind and society. This was a good phenomenon. It was just like when people no longer had to worry about not having enough to eat. They began to selectively choose delicacies and eat whatever they liked. It was the same for movies. What people liked to watch and what they didn't like to watch, they wanted to enjoy movies with visual effects. This was a manifestation of the pursuit of progress. Therefore, this matter was urgent. Since Sky Entertainment wanted to be the leader of Hua Xia's film and television industry, it had to play a leading role. What Su Yun needed to do now was to play this leading role. He needed more advice. After all, Sky Entertainment had been producing traditional movies for so many years. It was a challenge for anyone to suddenly focus on high-tech movies. It was a huge challenge for him as the boss. It was a huge challenge for all the staff. It was a huge challenge for excellent screenwriters. It was a huge challenge for famous directors. It was a huge challenge for all the actors under his command. Today, Su Yun was having a headache because of the actors under his command. Some of the actors couldn't handle this huge pressure and challenge, especially the new generation of idols who relied on their looks to make a living. To be honest, acting skills really needed to be honed. It would take a lot of time to settle down. There were very, very few artists who could make it big right after their debut. Director Zhang had only groomed 2 actresses to make it big in one go. Little Swallow, Gidge, was a miracle that could only be created in a certain era. And Brother Jie, who made his name known internationally at the Shaolin Temple in 1982, was even more of a legend. What? The Little Tigers? Wasn't that the TFBOYS from the late 1980s and early 1990s? This was a group of 3 monsters that only appeared once every 20 or 30 years. The competition in the entertainment industry was fierce. It wasn't easy to be an idol. All the idols under Sky Entertainment hoped to attract the attention of young boys and girls through idol dramas. But what was a high-tech movie? The gimmick of a high-tech movie was the technology, not the actors. Once a high-tech movie was successful, the biggest credit would be the production of the movie, not the actors. Not to mention that some of them didn't have the ability to act in such a movie. They could only act in small roles. Even if they did, how many of them would be remembered by the audience? Don't forget, the biggest selling point of a high-tech movie was the technology. It was the charm of the technology itself that made the audience remember them. How many of the actors in Avatar were remembered by the audience? But this legendary movie took 14 years to prepare, cost $500 million, and took 4 years to make. It was definitely something that could change the movie industry in the future. The visual effects brought by the graphics were what movie consumers wanted the most. It was difficult for idols to stand out in this kind of movie. This meant that the change in Sky Entertainment's investment might cast a shadow over the future of some of the actors under Sky Entertainment. And if this shadow wasn't removed in time, it might become a bigger problem. Soo-yoon needed to consider these issues in the process of transforming the movie industry. After all, the reason why Sky Entertainment was able to stand tall in the Hwasiar entertainment industry was because of its strong foundation of actors. It was like how the rice bowl of the common people was the land. If the common people didn't have land, they would starve to death. If the land wasn't cultivated by the common people, it would be wasted. The relationship between the entertainment company and the artists was mutual. No one could live without the other. If Zhua Meiyan were to deal with this, she would definitely deal with it forcefully. She would severely suppress the first person to cause trouble. She would directly ban them. But if Ruan Qingxuang were to deal with it, everything would be easy to talk about. Some of the artists would take advantage of her. So Soo-yoon decided that he couldn't let either of them handle this. He had to deal with it himself. He had to take care of both sides. Otherwise, it would be easy for something big to happen. Sky Entertainment's vow to become the Hollywood of the East was already in the headlines. If something bad happened now, it wouldn't be good for the company. Ever since the Qingdao film and television base was built, Sky Entertainment's stock price had been rising rapidly. Now, they couldn't let anything bad happen. Once it happened, the company would be affected too much. Soo-yoon was thinking of a perfect plan when Bai Xiaoye came with Xian Yuanji. Lin Ge was sent out to do something, so Soo-yoon was the only one in the office. "Brother, look who's here." Bai Xiaoye knocked on the door and walked in. Soo-yoon looked up and was shocked. "Xian Yuanji." Oh my god, the wine-loving sword immortal was elusive, but Bai Xiaoye actually brought him to his office. "Senior Xian Yuanji, how did you?" Soo-yoon couldn't understand. Xian Yuanji laughed. Although Soo-yoon addressed him respectfully, he still didn't care about trifles and shouted, "Brother, you don't welcome me?" "Of course not. I wanted to invite you, but I couldn't find you." Soo-yoon was shocked. "You and Xiaoye, you know each other?" "Yes, we just met." Xian Yuanji smiled bitterly. "I only had 9,000 yuan on me. When I went to Sky Entertainment's film and television hotel, I saw that it was more than 10,000 yuan. I was scared. If Xiaoye didn't come, I would have been sent to the police station." Soo-yoon smiled bitterly. As expected of Xian Yuanji. Chapter 1566. I'll teach those people a lesson later. They didn't recognize empty Tai. Soo-yoon looked at Xian Yuanji. Suddenly, all the troubles of Sky Entertainment's artists disappeared. A few words popped up in his mind again. Marty Franz Island. Xian Yuanji was the person Soo-yoon had seen the most in his life. Xian Yuanji was indeed such a person. He had been to countless places, and each of them was a place that most people would never be able to visit in their lifetime. Hwasia's Nanjiboa Mountain, Vancouver, Canada's Kaplanau Suspension Bridge, the Alps, Chile's Glacier, Romania's Waterfall, Bolivia's Uni Salt Marsh, Gelangriffjord, Ireland's Inishowen, Greenland's Ice Canyon, Holland's Keukenhof Garden, Venezuela's Roraima Mountain, Iceland's Selfoss Waterfall, Birak Island, Croatia's Golden Horn Bay. Xian Yuanji had left his footprints in countless places. No matter if it was an extremely dangerous place or an extremely beautiful place, it had its own unique charm. Therefore, no matter if it was dangerous or beautiful, it would always attract Xian Yuanji's footsteps. The road that Xian Yuanji had walked through these years was probably more than a person could walk through in 3 lifetimes. Everyone had their own way of living. This was the life that Xian Yuanji had chosen, to be a ranger. This was 1,000,000 times more courageous than a person who was comfortable with the status quo. Perhaps some people thought that only people without shackles and fetters could do all this, but they didn't know that the fetters on Xian Yuanji's body were not something that ordinary people could imagine. Soo-yoon thought that he was very courageous, but it was absolutely impossible for him to embark on a journey to explore every corner of the world, like Xian Yuanji. Soo-yoon looked at Xian Yuanji, completely forgetting all his troubles. It was as if he had seen a ray of light in the darkness. Yes, with him, Su Yun wouldn't have to worry about not being able to find Marty Franz Island. Shen Yuanji must know this place, for sure, for sure. I'll leave a room for you in the movie hotel. You can go whenever you want. Stay here when you reach Qingdao. If it wasn't for Bai Xiaoye, Su Yun would have already asked Shen Yuanji about geography. Shen Yuanji smiled faintly. Brat, do you have something you need my help with? Why are you so enthusiastic? If you reserve a room for me, how much will you lose in a year? If old Tai Sui were to find out, he would definitely be angry that I took advantage of his family. There's no such thing. Even if the old man is here, he will definitely leave a suite for you, Su Yun said. It's good, but I won't stay in one place for long. Shen Yuanji smiled slightly. I just passed by to see you, I won't stay here, you don't need to leave a room for me. Bai Xiaoye knew that Shen Yuanji was about to get down to business. In order not to disturb them, she stood up and said, Senior Shen Yuanji, elder brother, I still have some matters to attend to at the hotel. I won't disturb you guys from catching up. I'll arrange a welcome banquet at noon. You can come directly at that time. Okay, go do your work. Work is more important. Su Yun had been hoping that Bai Xiaoye would leave as soon as possible. Bai Xiaoye, who understood Su Yun's thoughts, stuck out her tongue and left proudly. Now, she was no longer alone. She had more helpers in her team. Bai Xiaoye knew very well that with each additional person reminding Su Yun, it would make Su Yun realize how scary things were. Only by constantly reminding Su Yun could Su Yun truly realize what he should and shouldn't do. Senior Shen Yuanji, you came at the right time. I have something to ask you. Seeing that Bai Xiaoye had left, Su Yun immediately lost his calm. He quickly pulled Shen Yuanji to sit on the sofa in the office. Shen Yuanji smiled slightly. What do you want to ask me? I'm almost out of touch with society. Please don't say that. If you're out of touch with society, what should we do? Su Yun. It's said that it's better to travel 10,000 miles than to read 10,000 books. You've been to so many places. I won't be able to catch up with you in my lifetime. Shen Yuanji realized that Su Yun wanted to ask him for something, so he said, I can't. I'm not young anymore. My brain isn't that good. I often forget things. I've almost forgotten all the places I've been to. It's meaningless. When Su Yun heard this, he was slightly stunned. How could he forget? If he had been to places like Nanjibua Peak or Selphus Waterfall, he definitely wouldn't have forgotten. How can that be? The places you've been to are places that many people wouldn't even have the chance to visit in their lifetime. Su Yun, how can I forget? Shen Yuanji said lightly, what do you want to ask me for? Why are you stuttering now? Oh, it's like this. I've recently fallen in love with traveling. Then I looked up information on the internet. I wanted to go to a place where no tourists had been before. Su Yun made up a story. Then I found a place called Marty Franz Island. I fell in love with the name of the place at first sight, so I really want to go there. I wonder if Senior Shen Yuanji knows where this island is? Shen Yuanji smiled helplessly in his heart. This kid really knows how to make things up. Aha, the place you're talking about is really a place where no one has been before. I've heard of this place, but I don't know where it is. Shen Yuanji's answer was quite calm. Su Yun obviously didn't believe it. If Shen Yuanji knew about Marty Franz Island, he definitely knew where it was. If he could still answer so calmly, it meant that he wasn't telling the truth. Senior Shen Yuanji, if even you haven't been there, then no one can go there? Su Yun continued to probe. Could it be that the place is fake? There's actually no such place? Yes, there is. It's just that the people who went there didn't come back. Shen Yuanji smiled faintly. Who knows if that place is truly a place that surpasses the immortal realm? Or perhaps, it could be a place that resembles hell. Su Yun felt guilty, so he didn't dare to continue the topic. Brother, if it was someone else who asked me where Marty Franz Island is, I could still believe that they might have found it on the internet. Xian Yuanji said, but, when these words come out of your mouth, I'm really a little confused. Hey, is that the case? What kind of place is Marty Franz Island? How could you not know? Su Yun was stunned. How could he forget this? He wasn't an ordinary person. Of course, he knew that Marty Franz Island was the island where the world's most dangerous criminal's prison was located. Xian Yuanji knew that Su Yun didn't know how to explain, and didn't intend to let him explain. He said directly, "Do you know why I came to Qingdao to find you? Because I met Lin Yonghe. Don't continue to pretend that you don't know anything. He's already told me everything. Brother, don't continue to act with me." Su Yun knew that he couldn't continue after being seen through, but his surprise was completely higher than embarrassment. "You know Lin Yonghe too?" "Of course." Xian Yuanji nodded. Su Yun was silent for a while. "So, you also know that person is locked up there?" Xian Yuanji didn't answer. He knew that Su Yun was talking about Su Chen, but he didn't know how to answer. "Su Yun, there are always things that you have to give up in life, and these things are things that you have to give up. If you insist on not giving up, it will bring you more people or things that you have to give up. Do you understand this principle?" Su Yun didn't answer. He just nodded silently. He knew what this meant, but he still couldn't help but want to complete this matter, even if it sounded so ridiculous. "I don't need to say more about why I'm here. You already know," Xian Yuanji said. Xian Yuanji said, "I believe that you are a thoughtful person. You need to make your own judgment for your own matters. If you're right, I'll support you. If you're wrong, I'll remind you." You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.